Yes, everybody, and welcome to High on Homegrown, the cannabis podcast from percysgrowroom.com. I am Mackie from the UK, and joining us this week, we have the lovely Margaret.
Hello, everyone. It's Margaret here coming at you from Central Ontario, the podcast host formerly known as Marge, and also host of Bite Me, the show about edibles.
Should I get a little symbol for you?
I was talking about that with somebody earlier today, and yes, I should.
That would be fun. Yes, we also have Billy Bonds.
Good evening, coming to you from the deepest, darkest Cornwall, which it is here. It's quite dark now. You can tell the wintry times are coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just in a week, just since last week, it's changed so much. It's so much more drearier. It's darker earlier. It just feels like autumn now. Summer is over.
Yeah, that's what I had to say about the darkness. Then you can definitely feel that summer
it is
vibe
the first
is definitely
day.
Gone now.
Is it not?
Yes, it's the equinox, isn't it? Is it the equinox today?
I believe it is.
Yeah. Wow. Technically.
We should all be dancing around apple trees naked or something. I don't know. Pagans
it's too
did some
cold
crazy
for that shit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, are you feeling it over there, Margaret?
I haven't got an apple tree.
It's actually been pretty nice still.
All right,
it's not as warm, but like 23, 24 degrees. It's been pretty nice.
Oh,
delightful.
That's summer here.
Yeah, that's summer. That's what I was gonna say. It's summer minus the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was summer up until yesterday, but we're gonna have some nice weather.
Wow. It changes quick for you guys as well, don't it? It's
Oh yeah, it's gonna be cold as shit very soon, but
yeah, a couple of weeks, you fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, here we are for the cannabis news and events this week, and for the grow guides, we're going to be talking about the flowering stage, how to start flowering, what flowers look like, all that kind of stuff. We'll discuss that when we get to the grow guides. But we also have a snail race to do for this show. We're going to do that in the smoke break in about an hour's time. Everybody who commented on last week's show, who went to the stream, commented on it. There was 25 or something. 26 comments on it, and a couple of those were me. But anyway, I wrote everybody's name down, put them on the list, and yeah, that's all ready for the snail race, which will take place halfway through the show. And I think the prize was 5 monkey beans of your choice. So whoever wins, just let me know which monkey beans you want, and I'll send you 5 of them. Nice. Yeah, we might do that on the next show for this show as well. Fuck it, I've said it now. Might as well do it. If you comment on this show, today's show, this episode, next week we'll do the same thing with the snail race and the smoke break. Sounds like a plan. But let's take a look at some of these news articles we've got to cover. We have a campaigner filmed himself planting cannabis at Cork's Garda station. Who the fuck would do something like that? It sounds crazy. Sounds crazy. But yeah, we'll take a look at that guy a little bit later on in the show.
Very
yes,
bold.
That's right. He's living in his own world, that guy. Teenagers are being treated for severe psychosis from synthetic cannabinoids in vapes and edibles. Crazy shit. Yeah, there's a lot to be said about that. Let us know what you all think in the chat as well about these articles before we get there. If you have any opinions you want to share with us before we get there. We also have new research reveals that cannabis can reverse brain aging.
Ooh,
yeah, interesting. Didn't we cover something like this recently about the fountain of youth? Is cannabis the fountain of youth? Can you remember that? Did you do that?
Yes, I do recall that.
Rings a bell, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The Czech Republic, cannabis legalization to generate 5.5 billion Czech dollars, euros. I don't know what currency they have out there. But yeah, we're gonna Czechoslovakia. That's not right, is it? It's not Czechoslovakia anymore. They broke up. It's the Czech Republic and Slovakia. So the Czech Republic could be possibly legalizing cannabis here. We'll find out more when we get to that article. We have a survey saying 94% of Germans who consumed cannabis did so for medical reasons. Allegedly. Aurora Cannabis advances auto-flowering research. That's going to be an interesting article because, as we said a few times on the show, when auto-flowers are like the dog's bollocks and just compete with photo periods easily, which I think they do already. I love autos. But when they go into the commercial market, they're going to be grown quite often because they're just so easy to grow and so versatile. Just keep everything on 18.6 and have plants at different stages of growth. It'll be much easier to grow lots of autos, I think. So, yes, some research there from Aurora Cannabis. But that's it. 6 articles to cover. Of course, forum news as well. We'll be covering the forum news when we get there too. But that's about everything. Yes, that's what we got in store for this episode. What we smoking on? What you got, Margaret? You got something nice?
Yeah, I've got a little bit of Sunshine Pilgrim, and I'm also eating my coconut date balls.
Oh, you still on the date balls? I saw
I
a
made a
packet
big
of
batch,
dates
yeah.
while I was out
Ooh,
shopping this week. I saw a pack of dates and was like, date
Yeah,
balls.
they're delicious. They're delicious and nutritious.
Yeah. Each to their own, I say. Each to their own. Yeah, man. No,
see,
I was sorry,
I
sorry,
do
buddy.
want to ask, and I don't want to ask, but does she give her husband date balls?
Is it, you know when you think to yourself, I shouldn't, I want to
Yeah,
ask, but I don't want to ask.
but I
Stick with the
don't.
don't
Yeah, just
ask.
don't.
Stick with the don't
You
ask.
do the don't ask bit. Oh, right.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
right.
I get that now.
Yeah, you
Thank
know,
you for the
generally in
professional
normal life,
tips.
but especially when you're live streaming on YouTube.
Oh.
You know, just things to consider. Just things to consider. But yeah, what you got, Billy? You got something nice?
Yes and no. It's the same old shit technically because like I'm on the third week of smoking the
Nice.
perfect tree. So yeah,
SOS weed.
yeah. But I've also got some hash. So as you do, but I do have some Jorge's diamonds. So that's new.
Oh, nice. Cool, cool.
So yeah, shake my hands to that one.
I rolled a fat blunt of fucking. I don't know why I do these things. Like Sundays here, yeah, they just get super fucking high. I rolled a fat blunt of man. What? See, what even was it? A tooth decay. That's the one. Tooth decay. Very nice. Very nice, delicious cannabis from Mephisto there, which was an auto. So I doubt I'll be able to get to the end of this blunt. But I will be able to get to the end of it. But I can't get to the end of the blunt and the show at the same time. It has to be one or the other.
Just one
You
or
know?
the other. Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna get to the end of the show before the blunt gets finished. But yes, spark up, everybody, smoke. It's time to get a little bit high, and I think already with that smooth professional intro, we're ready to move on to the news.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Think
Yeah.
so.
Let's do it then. Nice. I think we should start and just get straight stuck in with this news about the campaigner. Yes. So this campaigner, many of you probably already know Martin. Surely many of our listeners already know Martin from Martin's World. Martin Condon has been a guest on the show many times before, well known in the cannabis community, especially in Ireland. Well, he was in court recently, and you know the court cases he has a few of them against him from all the protests that he does, from the civil disobedience events and stuff. But he went to court this week, and we got some news to get you informed of with that shit. But I'm also trying to get him on the show this week so we can get the interview out for Wednesday. Hopefully we can make that happen. I'll keep you all informed. But if not this Wednesday, we should get him on before the interview on the following Wednesday. So he'll be on soon to tell us about all of the details himself. But here we have, campaigner filmed himself planting cannabis herb at Cork Garda Station and City Hall. Court hears. They mentioned nothing about the one he left outside the deputy. What's the name? The Taoiseach. I don't know. Somebody high up in government. He left one of the cannabis plants on his doorstep as well. Massy bollocks. Martin has. There was perhaps an inevitability about the man being prosecuted for its cultivation. Far from making a secret of it, he planted it in the middle of the day, recorded his actions, and posted video clips online. There he is on the screen, everybody. Good old Martin. He's a good guy, working hard for cannabis legislation in Ireland. A cannabis campaigner advanced his cause by planting the herb at locations across Cork City, including spots outside Mayfield Garda Station. That's a police station, if anybody wasn't aware. They call the police Garda in Ireland. So he's gone to the police station in Mayfield and planted a cannabis plant outside it. He also went to hit City Hall and the Bridewell. I'm not sure what that is. There was perhaps an inevitability about the man being prosecuted for his cultivation. Far from making a secret of it, he planted it in the middle of the day, recorded his actions, and posted the video clips online. His videos formed part of the prosecution, case at Cork District Court, where Judge John King was shown a series of videos under the banner Martin's World, in which he hunkered down, dug a hole, took a cannabis plant from a pot, and planted it. Throughout each video, he comments on why he was doing this, and this is in quotes here. "It is laughable, really, that this is a crime," Mr. Condon said to Judge King. And the course of one video of him planting cannabis. In Cork District Court, after several Gardaí gave evidence in the case, and the videos were shown by Inspector Clodagh O'Sullivan. I've probably butchered that name. Defense solicitor Aoife, I think that's pronounced Buttimer, called the man Martin Condon to give his own evidence in defense of his actions. Mr. Condon, this guy as well, is like, he'll go out there, he'll do all this shit, and then when he goes to court, he'll do a live stream. You can go to his channel, just search YouTube for Martin's World. You'll find it. If you go to his channel, before he goes into court, he'll be smoking a joint, and he'll go in there wearing like a tracksuit Snoop Dogg would wear, just bright colors, reggae colors, and ganja leaves all over it. You go to court, most people will think, I'm put on a nice suit, get my hair cut, look fresh. Martin's just rocking up in there with in his cannabis tracksuits. Legend. Yeah, so Mr. Condon wore a brightly colored tracksuit imprinted with cannabis leaves. He said from the witness box, basically all of the evidence is of me holding a civil disobedience protest. I felt frustrated, I suppose, with the dead ends met when trying to obtain a cannabis as a patient. He said he suffers from epilepsy, a condition which is worsening and prevented him from keeping up the level of activism shown in the video recorded incidents of planting cannabis, which were undertaken between April and September of 2021, so 3 years ago. Mr. Condon, I don't know why they put his address out and shit. They do this in Ireland. So Mr. Condon told Judge King that he was part of an organization that campaigned for access to cannabis for patients who need it. The defendant, who has an honors degree in herbal science, and that's another thing, it's not like Martin is just some guy. He's like been to university, got an honors degree in herbal science. So it's not like this man is just some random cannabis activist. You know what I mean? I know it sounds wrong, but there's a stereotypical stoner. He's not just the stoner who just enjoys cannabis. This man knows what he's talking about, especially when it comes to herbs. So, it's a farce. In fact, they won't even listen to him. The cannabis plants I planted were all of the genus cannabis, but they were all hemp that would have got nobody high. They would have intoxicated no person. Okay. A lot of the plants were male versions. The risk to the public from these plants was next to non-existent. I was the only person at risk by my actions. He said his hope was to trigger a national conversation, which he said he had succeeded in doing, and also wanted to have his day in court. And yeah, this goes on. He's got 6 counts of cultivation apparently, and 1 was dismissed because the plant was simply left at the scene rather than planted. So he's still looking at 5 counts. And Mrs. Buttimer said the 35-year-old father of 4 is a man of strong political views on the medical use of cannabis. There was nothing sophisticated about the offending. He didn't try to conceal it. He refers to it as a civil disobedience protest. Judge King asked if the behavior had stopped. Mr. Condon said he was unable to engage in activism because of his worsening epilepsy. Judge King adjourned sentencing until November 25th and directed the preparation of a prohibition report on the accused. So I don't know what that means. Preparation of a probation report. Okay, so if they're gonna put him in prison, or
was that what that's
probation? I think so. So would he be at a risk of anything if he was on probation? Maybe that's what a probation report is. I don't know. I'm just assuming. Sure. But crazy talk. He's got 4 kids. He's got a reasonably young one. I think his youngest is under a year old, right? It's not.
Yeah, it's just a baby still, probably. Yeah.
And to take him away from his kids and put him in prison for something like this would be absolutely ridiculous. Sometimes they just want to make an example of people.
Yeah, which would be kind of sad in a lot of ways, because he's also, talking about how his epilepsy, which is why he wants to obtain this legally in the first place, or medically in the first place, is not allowing him to continue his activism. But I like when he says he has a moral duty to disobey unjust laws, and
absolutely.
Got to have a lot of stones to get up in a court and say that. So that's how you move the needle forward.
Yeah, man. He's got massive bollocks. Massive, as we say here in the UK anyway. He's brave, man. He could easily just sit at home and do the YouTube streams like I do. I don't have the the Randy Marsh bollocks to be space hopping around on,
Well,
like
he's
Martin does.
facing
You know.
like possible real consequences too from
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
right? So yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah,
Scary, man.
especially in Ireland as well. They can be
Mm.
quite
Mm-hmm.
harsh out there. They're right draconian bastards sometimes, which is
Yeah.
just stupid. But again, being such a small island, which Ireland is, and such a proud history, that you'd think they'd be a bit more like, what can we do to help each other? But they seem to like fucking over each other just as much as they do in England with their judicial things. It's like
Mm-hmm.
shit. You'd think like they'd be more farmery out there because they're so like
Mm-hmm.
had been, I suppose, accosted by everyone for their history. So you'd think, shit, it's like even they're going like Western draconian laws. It's just mad that how it's pushed
Mm-hmm.
on everyone, this stupid law. Like you say, he's got 4 kids and they're still going to consider whether to. And the judge there and then should have just had to look at it, had a laugh and gone, see you later, mate, go home. Not guilty, don't matter now. You've done a protest. Congratulations on your protest, sort of thing. It's like now you're wasting the court's time and money. We've got more important things to do.
Mm.
It's like if he's got his name in the papers and done his protest, it's like congratulations.
And it goes to show how delayed they are, because this was going on in 3 years ago, 2021, in September, and like in 2021, wasn't it? So it's 3 years he's been in the queue until it's got to this point. It's like, if you're not, because there's going to be other cases also in the queue. You're not got better things to be doing than prosecuting victimless crimes because of a harmless herb. Jesus.
Well, has he not been back to court since too? Like
before this, a few months ago. He's in and out right now. It's crazy because he's been involved in so many protests. I think he just has different cases involving different things.
Right. I see.
At one time in case anybody doesn't know, he walked into a police station with a joint to hand himself in. And the joint was actually a CBD joint, so it was legal or something like that. There's fine details to it, man. But if you don't know who we're referring to, go and check out the interviews we've done with Martin in the past. They're all fucking awesome. He's a very cool guy, and he's, as we said, he's got massive bollocks. And I'm going to speak to him. I've been speaking to him today, and hopefully we can get him on the show sometime this week. And I'll get the interview out to you all so you can find out all the finer details from the man himself. But yeah, check him out over at Martin's World. Do a little search. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure if you can download his podcast, but you can definitely find him on YouTube. Just search for Martin's World. He does live streams sometimes, but he's a busy guy. But yes, shout out to Martin, everybody, legend. But let's do the next one. What are we saying? Do you want to do one now, Margaret? You want to do one of yours?
Yeah, sure. I will do the first one here. The survey says.
Survey says.
Oh, I'm trying to open it and I already had it opened. Survey says 94% of Germans who consume cannabis did so for medical reasons. A recent survey according to a survey from Germany-based medical company Bloomwell, 94% of respondents that consume cannabis did so for at least one medical or health reason. The most common being cited by respondents for consuming cannabis was stress relief. That was about 60%, followed by sleeping disorders, 50%, and pain relief, 35%. However, just 10% of respondents said that they had acquired cannabis exclusively from licensed pharmacies in the past year, while the vast majority, 79.6%, said they had negative experiences with the unlicensed market, which kind of makes sense because they only went legal April 1st of this year. So
it's like 3 or 4 months ago. It's not been long at all, has it?
Right. Although I think they had a medical program before that, but anyway. So of course most people are going to the street to get their weed. But in a statement, Nicholas Kouperanis, co-founder and CEO of Bloomwell Group, the holding company for Bloomwell, said the survey responses illustrate the immense potential and room for growth of the country's rapidly expanding medical cannabis industry following the implementation of the Cannabis Act on April 1st, which rescheduled cannabis as a non-narcotic. He added that, according to the data, more than 20 million people in Germany could benefit from access to the medical cannabis therapy. The survey found that 30.9% reported purchasing cannabis that was of poor quality. 29% were afraid that illegally acquired cannabis will have a negative impact on their own health. That'd be interesting to see how they phrased that particular survey question. 39.7% are afraid of unwanted side effects from illegally acquired cannabis. Again, I'd like to see the survey question on that. That sounds interesting. 14.8% said they had problems dosing correctly, and 26.3% had purchased contaminated cannabis.
Wow, a whole fucking quarter of people?
Yeah, those last two items do seem to check out. Like if you don't have a lot of education around cannabis, dosing can be an issue, but contaminated cannabis, I mean, that could be anything from, I don't know, fentanyl, like we've talked about, or moldy weed, or who
Well,
knows
it's got a
what.
Labrador hair in it, you know?
Yeah, that
It's
too. Pulling
Labrador,
a
man.
dog hair out of it or something, like also kind of gross. The survey also found 91.7% of respondents said they would prefer cannabis treatment via an app complete with delivery of medical cannabis from a German pharmacy at low prices. Well, I think a lot of people would actually, even outside of Germany. Patients no longer need to rely on the illicit market and also should not be pushed in that direction. Additionally, the survey found that respondents of the consumers surveyed have already been diagnosed with a qualifying medical condition by a doctor, while 21% had already spoken to a doctor about medical cannabis, but the doctor did not prescribe medical cannabis to them as a treatment. More than a quarter said that the doctors were unable to help with their health problems, while just 9.2%
Wow.
of those surveyed had no issues finding a doctor who could completely support them with their therapy with medical cannabis. Dr. Julian Wichman, co-founder of Bloomwell Group and CEO, noted that the findings underscore the need for medical cannabis to be treated on an equal footing as other modern medical therapies. However, for too many doctors in Germany, medical cannabis is still a taboo subject, and education in cannabis medical treatment is needed not just for patients, but also for medical professionals in order to normalize the use and dispel outdated stigmas. I should also note that as this was done by a large company, likely a medical cannabis company, there were no survey questions around cultivation of cannabis and how they would feel about that, because obviously we want to have laws that include home grow.
Wow.
So,
And
yeah, so there you have it.
94%. That's do you think these guys are just
Yeah.
saying it?
Where
Yeah,
did they
because
get how much data? Where's the numbers? 94% of what?
yeah, of how many
Of
people?
respondents of
And
that
as
consumer
Margaret
cannabis.
said a couple of
Yeah,
times as well, it'd be good to see what the questions were for this questionnaire.
yeah, it would be because just the way they were afraid of unwanted side effects. Like, I don't understand what they're afraid of. Like, I guess if they're new to cannabis or these people who are using cannabis who've been longtime cannabis users, I don't know. That's just an interesting question.
Mainstream media have obviously put a lot of that fear into people, and people
Yeah,
are
yeah.
extra scared at the moment because there's been fear about everything drummed into people, isn't there? So that's going to play a part in it.
Mm-hmm. It just we hear the term sometimes. There are some people out there that do believe that anybody who uses cannabis uses it for medical use, even if you're coming back from work and you're using cannabis to relax after work, then it's being used in a medicinal way. So there's them arguments to have as well. I don't believe that so much. I think you can just enjoy cannabis recreationally sometimes.
Yeah, I'd
It's
say
like in the
that's more
same
of
way,
a
yeah.
recreational unwind. Yeah,
Well, it's
like
like
having a beer
yeah,
or
yeah, exactly. And you can't
yeah.
say alcohol is medicinal, can you? Just
No.
because some people would drink a whiskey after work to unwind.
Right.
Some people go
But
to the
then,
gym or play football like on a five-a-side or play badminton
Yeah,
or like go down to the bingo. Is that's unwinding. Some people just
yeah,
unwind in a different way or play PlayStation or whatever in it.
yeah,
So I
but it's
think
a
it's
fine
just
line between recreational cannabis use and like medical use for stress relief, because it is
hmm
shown that stress causes a whole host of health problems.
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
But that's again like that's why some people play PlayStation or do badminton or bowls. That's their
Right.
stress relief. You see, just a lot of people are choosing cannabis because I suppose it has a lot of like layers on top of it. It is medical as well as people, even though people are using it recreationally, it has a medical benefit to them. It's still
Right.
recreational use because they don't need it medicinally. Like I notice a
Hmm.
difference when I wake up in the morning, whether I've had my oil or not, or if I can smoke straight away. If you know what I mean? That's
Right.
medicinal use. Someone who's just recreational use could walk around the house for 30 minutes, even though they're going to have a joint on a Sunday morning. It don't matter when they have it.
Mm-hmm.
So do you understand what I'm by
Mhm.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
yeah, that's
Good
just
story.
my take on it. Yeah, I think that's really interesting. But again, Germany coming out with more stuff.
The rest of Europe needs to catch up now.
Yeah, I think that like segues quite nicely into my story here, to be honest.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like,
it does
this
indeed.
is again researchers in Bonn, Germany,
Professional.
which come out. Yeah, they've come out with new research reveals that cannabis can reverse brain aging, and it's like,
that's a shit segue. That's not the segue I was talking about. What about full cannabis legalization in the Czech Republic? Man. That's the segue.
No, mate, this is the one.
You went a different direction with that.
Yeah. So
everybody let us know, which way should we have gone there for the segue? What was the correct segue? Gosh, sorry, Billy, you were saying. I'm saying yours is more of a tangent than a segue, but carry on. It's on you, bro. It's all you.
So basically, what they're saying, a low dose, long-term administration of cannabis has been shown to not only reverse the aging process in the brain, but also exhibit anti-aging effects. So researchers in university in Germany and also from Israel as well. So it's been demonstrated on the effect of mice. So the key discovery lies on the protein switch of the mTOR, which influences the cognitive performance and metabolic process throughout the body. So these findings have been published in the journal on the ACS Pharmacology and Translational Science. So again, German scientists coming out with raw data being backed up again by what they've been doing in Israel for the past 10 years, which is like basically just testing mice with everything to do with cannabis.
Getting mice super high.
Brain function. Yeah, brain function in mice and testing them and how well they function, and all of them are really super healthy and probably brainier. It's really cool shit.
Does that mean these guys are like wearing baseball caps backwards and carrying skateboards around and shit?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, most of them are definitely not vegan. I would definitely say that. Yeah, but yeah, information.
Margaret, was you going to say something there?
Yeah, I'm just chuckling because they are doing this research on mice. I don't know if they've moved it into any other kind of like human trials, but I'm pretty sure we've covered this story already. I was just laughing about that because that's our own aging brain.
You didn't. I mentioned as well. We covered something similar to this, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did cover this story like a few weeks ago.
This is on the list.
The fucking irony of that. The irony. Oh my goodness.
That's so funny.
that is I don't know, do we even carry on reading now? You kind of put a whole dampener on the article there, Margaret. Oh my gosh.
I'm so sorry. But it was brought up in the chat too, so I it has been confirmed.
Yeah, we did an anti-aging story recently, because we talked about the fountain of youth. Yeah, I think it was a little bit different. I'm not even sure.
Yeah, it might have been different just because this is only just been released, this study. It's like, this is a very recent news story.
Right.
It's cool. Yeah, carry on, Billy. Let's say more.
They have done previous studies as well, so it could have been that we talked about. So basically, the crucial importance of the regulation of metabolism, is that how you say it? So the so-called metabolism. So the so-called metabolome is a complex reaction network that summarizes all metabolic properties of a cell or tissue. So in higher organisms, the protein mTOR, the mechanic target of rapamycin.
Rapamycin?
Yeah, there you go. Is the central hub for the cell growth and metabolism. So basically, it's cell growth and regenerative. So in a previous study, the Bonn researchers, together with a team from the Hebrew Jew, were able to show that the long-term low-dose administration of THC, the active ingredient obviously in cannabis, has an anti-aging effect on the brain by restoring cognitive abilities and the synapse density in old mice. So they're testing it on old mice. So whenever changes in the mTOR signaling and the metabolome are linked, the positive effects on the aging of the brain has remained an open question. So basically, they're saying yes, it does fix brain.
Well, it's interesting too because I mean, I grew up with those whole, all those like drug commercials, like this is your brain on drugs and sugar, like eggs in a frying pan and stuff like that. So this is pretty counter to that, which is Great news.
Yeah. Again, like the actual science and actual studies that have proved it. Also, it's about the production of amino acids as well, so which is energy production, which then creates like the brain to.
It's as if there's some kind of system within the human body that is related to cannabis called? In some way,
like some sort of endo inside thing.
Yeah, like endo for inside, and then maybe something to do with cannabis. Maybe it's a cannabinoid. An endocannabinoid system. Is there something like that inside the human body? Fuck it.
I don't know. You'd have to Google it, I suppose. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just sounding like a conspiracy theorist. It's crazy though. You see this kind of shit all the time. How cannabis just works well with the body. You know, we evolved alongside this plant. I think, and I know nothing about any of this, so don't listen to what I'm saying. But you know, I think humans have evolved alongside cannabis for a long time, and it works in conjunction with our body to keep things balanced. You know,
if you've got an endocannabinoid system and there's a plant that produces like all the cannabinoids for that system, that sort of tells me you're like a symbiosis, isn't it? It's called. So like one without the other can't exist.
Interesting, man. Yeah. Cool study. We'll cover this one again in about 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Oh shit, that was funny.
Yeah, funny shit. But you should have so segued onto that other article, and then at some point Margaret could have gone, I think we've covered this one in the chat or something, so we could assume that we'd have to do all this. Gosh. Anyway, hit that like button for professionalism. What we got next? Let's do this. Teenagers being treated for severe psychosis from synthetic cannabis. I said synthetic a little funny then. From synthetic cannabis in vapes and edibles. So here we go. This is from the Irish Examiner, another article from Ireland here. A fifth of teens being treated in addiction services are there because of chemically modified cannabis products found in vapes and edibles. So straight away, I have a problem with this. You know, a fifth of teens being treated in addiction services, which usually the case is, not all of the cases are, but usually the case is, this kid has been found with cannabis and needs to go to a clinic. Otherwise, they're going to get kicked out of school. They're going to suffer legal prosecution. They're going to get fined, things like that. So instead of doing that, you go on this course or something like that. You know, like you go and speak to somebody about your drug addiction. And I think it's developing from that rather than all these kids flocking there to get help with their cannabis addiction. What do you think, Margaret? What do you think?
I think if a reader wasn't really paying attention, they would just assume a fifth of all teens are consuming cannabis, like these chemically modified cannabis products.
Yeah.
I don't know if that helps their story or not.
What do you think?
Legalize for fuck's sakes.
Yeah,
you are correct, because that's what they offered me, and I just laughed and told them like, where to stick it. Basically.
Well, when you were arrested for growing.
Yeah. They do. They offer it to everyone.
It's like you need to go on this course to learn about cannabis. It's like, well, bro, you seen my plants? I already know about cannabis.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like they're gonna give you a drug test. It's like, sweet man, I know everything about drugs. Yeah.
I know they do. I even had it years ago when, like, I went to see another drugs expert who's meant to help me with my cannabis, like addictions, and he was trying to offer me like some sort of like opium-based pills to come off cannabis. And I'm like, so you're offering me like heroin to get off cannabis? I was very close to causing him harm. So instead, extreme. I just told him what I thought of him, and like,
it's just crazy, isn't it?
Said, like,
it's like, what happens if I take 10 of these? Oh, yeah, that's going to be a problem. Like, oh yeah, what happens if I smoke a little bit too weed? Oh, well, a little bit too much weed. Well, you'll be all right after a nap. You know,
crazy shit, man.
It's ridiculous. It makes no sense. But anyway, this article continues. The College of Psychiatrists of Ireland says the use of HHC, which is this new thing, we've heard about this a couple of times now, this hexahydrocannabinol is leaving young men in particular with severe psychosis and needing months in hospital to recover. What? That's an extreme claim. And you know what they say about extreme claims? Extraordinary claims need extraordinary evidence. So I wonder what they have to show us. The college has now urged the government to ban distribution and sale of HHC, which at present is not subject to legal restrictions here, meaning Ireland, because it's not a controlled substance. We've mentioned this before on the show. You know, they come up with these new cannabinoids and shit, so they're not actually written down in law anywhere. Like, TFG is illegal, you know, so they make this new TFG. Just an example, random shit, you know. And then it's fine because there's no law against it. There's no law against it. And then the law gets updated where this gets added and then they can't have it anymore. And it seems that's the case with this HHC shit. You know, right, so I'll carry on here. We've got Professor Bobby Smythe, I think that is, the College Faculty of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry chairman, said the explosion in HHC-related addiction presentations... Yeah, that seems like an odd word to put there. The explosion in HHC-related addiction presentations among adolescents has been extraordinary over such a short period of time. HHC was only identified in Europe for the first time 2 years ago. Today, we estimate that HHC now features as a component part of about 20% of all presentations to adolescent addiction services in Ireland, very often in combination with cannabis itself. Okay. HHC is available in vapes, also known as e-cigarettes and edibles, which can include gummy bears or cakes. It is a chemically modified or semi-synthetic version of a natural cannabinoid found in cannabis with effects similar to THC in the cannabis plant. The public needs to know that just because a substance is sold in a shop in fancy packaging for human consumption does not mean that it is safe or tested in any meaningful way, Professor Smythe says. Indeed, we've seen that from all levels of the industry.
So basically, they're saying it's sold as HHC, but it might not have been HHC. Have they tested them all, or did the people who report?
No, I think that it's 20% of them are HHC. I think it's just sold that way because it's a legal variation of THC. I think that's what it's getting at here, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but the ones who go and get the psychosis, are they testing the stuff they're using?
Yeah, very true. It'll be good to know that. But yeah, and what? Because again, I mean, I say that you know, maybe it's just these kids just going there to try and stop themselves from getting in trouble. But there is also the option that this is actually causing psychosis in kids. We don't know what the fuck this shit does. You know, maybe it is. I'm skeptical to think that it is, but you've always got to leave that window open. You know,
but
maybe
if some are getting like psychosis, they're getting it because they're smoking like synthetic cannabis. They're not smoking cannabis. They're smoking like just fucking
yeah,
chemicals basically. Yeah, vapes. Mm-hmm. So it's like you fuck knows what you're really smoking there. It's a pot.
Yeah, because it could be the HHC, and who knows what else is in that thing too.
Yeah, exactly. What else is in there? So it's unless they have tested the actual vape. I've bought it saying as HHC, but unless I get it tested and then there's no fucking saying what's in it and what sent me do lately as such.
There's James in the chat. What's up, James? He said, good point in German canon law is it forbids all chemical derivatives of THC. It seems as if somebody did their research when doing the law change in Germany. Let's carry on here. We had about 15 years ago, head shops sold psychoactive drugs with effects mimicking some illegal drugs, like spice, for example. These were closed due to health concerns. Professor Smythe, a specialist consultant child and adolescent addiction psychiatrist, compared HHC to that situation, saying head shops products caused a huge amount of damage. His colleague, Professor Colin O'Gara, echoed this warning. HHC has proven to be a potent cannabinoid in our clinical settings, particularly amongst young men, he warned. What are you saying, man? Would you try it? Would you take a hit of that bong if it was all HHC, Billy? What are you saying?
Not at all. Why the fuck I do that? No. I've got really pure weed, so...
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Don't need to, yeah.
What do you think there, Margaret? Would you hit that shit?
Well, I don't tend to do those types of vapes anyway, and I make my own edibles, so fuck them.
Yeah. And this is it. And I'm sure most people out in chat would say exactly the same thing. Because when you can just get normal cannabis, you don't need to fuck around with shit like this. So if it was legalized and regulated properly, we would not be having these issues. When will they see?
You don't want to fuck around and find out with.
So again, you're saying that regulation and legalization would cause like all these side issues to go away and people would be like healthier.
95% of it will be gone.
You could legislate it like this this person's saying in the chat that how Germany made it so that it forbid all chemical derivatives of THC. So just better for everybody.
And just another quote here. We got, it can have devastating effects on a young person's mental health. We are treating young men suffering from severe psychosis as a result of vaping HHC. I would like to see the numbers, you know. I'd like to see how many people. You know, is it 2, 3, 100, 1,000? How bad is it? You know, and then and what percentage of people using HHC suffer psychosis? Is it 10%, 1%, 0.1%? Is it 50%? You know, we need more numbers. We need more details on this shit.
Well, there can't be that many. I mean, it says it's only been out for a couple of years, right? This HHC is relatively new. But the fact that they've noticed that there is this this side effect that's causing a lengthy return to health, that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Because these are kids, right? And kids are just like, I'm invincible, and they don't think twice.
Damn, and you hit that shit, can mess with you for a while, man. You gotta be careful out there, you know. You gotta make sure your kids are properly informed about this shit, man. He said here he has also seen them develop an addiction to HHC. Again,
really?
I'd like to see why he has to back up that claim. He isn't just throwing it out there. I'm sure he's got some evidence to back it up. That's crazy if HHC also causes addiction. Very interesting, man.
That's why in this day and age, in this day and age, you've got to just do everything for yourself. So roll your own. Unless if someone passes you something, just say, no, you don't need it. Roll your own. You ain't desperate enough to have a few tokes on something you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Really, it's to me at a party, you're better off just taking your own.
I was at my friend's the other day, and he was offering me a joint, and I was like, "No, thanks." I said, "You're not smoking." Like, no, it's got tobacco in it, and it's not my weed.
Right.
You know,
the tobacco would be enough for me to turn it down too, though. I don't fuck with that shit anymore.
But you're seen as a snob in the UK if you don't have tobacco in your joint.
Yeah, I've heard that's a real European thing. So, yeah.
But it is so much better to not have it in there, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah, if you see someone rolling some of the joints I do in the UK, you're like, yeah, you're a grower.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know, when they're rolling fat, when they don't care about the crumbs that fell on the floor, you know?
Yeah. When you watch someone roll up like that, you feel like you've
harvested recently, you mancat.
Right, what you got, mate? What you got?
Yeah. So interesting story there. We'll keep you informed, man. If anybody has any experience of ingesting this HHE stuff, let us know what it was like, and if you think it's dangerous, and what you think the government should do here in Ireland. It'd be interesting to find that out. But what do we have next? Margaret, we have another one from you. You want to do this on about
Yes,
Aurora?
this one's coming from everyone's favorite Canadian cannabis.
You can't even say it, can you?
Canada's favorite Canadian cannabis corp. Anyway.
Yeah. Aurora, woo!
Yeah. They are advancing autoflower research, however. So it should be interesting to see how they try to keep this technology all for themselves or share it with the world. We'll see what they end up doing. But Aurora Cannabis is home to one of the world's largest genetic libraries for cannabis in Comox at 32,200 square feet, with 10,000 square feet dedicated to research and 21,700 square feet of greenhouse space, and has one of the largest genetic libraries for cannabis globally. Today.
Wow. And hold on for a second, because by the sound of it, this isn't just the seed bank. This is live plants.
Yeah, it must be, because they have a 21,000 square foot greenhouse. So they're
cool
studying some stuff over there.
That's an actual cannabis museum there. You can just walk by and be like, this one's White Widow, this one's Bubblegum, this one's Northern Lights.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Cool, man. Sorry, Margaret.
So that's okay. Aurora Cannabis announced that the company's focus on unraveling the molecular mechanisms controlling flowering and maturity time in cannabis can lead to enhancing crop yield and adaptability. By using the natural variation in the circadian rhythm of cannabis, Aurora hopes to raise the economic value of cannabis. Through their research and development, Aurora Cannabis is overcoming traditional limitations and moving towards improved cultivation techniques. They have advanced research in autoflowering technology. Autoflowering is when a genetic characteristic automatically transitions the plant from the vegetative state to the flowering stage without reliance on light cycles. This technique will support future breeding strategies and can be leveraged to change outdoor cannabis cultivation in high latitude regions such as Canada. As a company backed by science, we have long invested in research both independently and with leading academic institutions and have achieved significant learning from our work, says Jose Caladon, PhD, Director, Breeding and Genetics at Aurora. Our recent work on autoflowering will be a game changer for cannabis and hemp production. This research speaks to our expertise and investment in science that will move this industry forward. Aurora Cannabis's innovation with its work on outdoor cultivation, especially in high latitude areas, will lead to greater yields in outdoor settings. The U.S. patent that Aurora recently received enables their breeding program to identify and select for the autoflowering trait within various cannabis plants. They have been researching and developing cannabis breeding since 2018, and this is just their latest breakthrough. The breeding program has typically yielded 40 to 100% more flower than legacy varieties.
Damn. So substantial.
It is, but who will get to use this knowledge? Because it sounds like they're making patents in the U.S. already.
And are they going to be selling seeds?
Probably not.
Yeah, they're just
I
maybe they'll
mean,
sell seeds to other big growing companies.
Or just to their own companies in their portfolio.
Interesting. I'm sure we covered this article a couple of weeks ago.
Does it say like?
I wasn't there then. I would remember.
Does it say how these cunts grow the weed? Like, are they using PGR or some wank like that? Probably, no. These fuckers.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is they're saying that they could grow them at high latitude. Are they talking like altitude, latitude, higher elevations, or just more north? I guess is what they're saying, perhaps. Because Canada can have a pretty short outdoor season, so that is kind of interesting. But how this actual
maybe they got like clear roofs or sort of thing, so they can use the sun in that manner, mirrored the sun in as well, shit like that. That sort of techniques. Don't know. Fuck them. I don't like them.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, when autos get properly figured out, which I think they're real close to being at that stage. Autos are so fucking good. If you get the good autos. You know, there's bound to be shit ones out there, but there's shit ones of everything. But autos, man. Once you can get that, you know, the bad thing is with autos is you have to grow from seeds, so you're gonna have that phenotypic plasticity, is it? Or you know, every single seed is gonna be slightly different from the other. You'd have tall ones and short ones, and you know that's gonna make a difference. Though. Yeah, but if you are a company trying to breed consistent cannabis. That's where the problem comes in. But if you get seeds that were all genetically identical, different story. So, and this is why they prefer to grow with cuts, because every plant is an exact genetic copy of each other. It's all the same. You're not going to have that privilege when it comes to autos unless you can figure out the seeds.
But sometimes that's also why buying from big companies like Aurora is less interesting than buying from other sources.
Man, I've been growing Mephisto, and they're not even sponsors of the show or anything. All right, they send me seeds. You know, just let you know that. But so as a result, I've just been growing Mephisto for like I don't know a year and a half now. Just autos all the way, and man, it's fucking loving it. It's just fantastic genetics, loving them. So check them out if you want to go to autos, everybody. Well, don't buy from Aurora.
Autos too. I've grown lots of autos.
You're just sort of like, you haven't grown autos really, have you? Like you have, so it's like to do what you're doing still like an experiment for you now. It's like something new.
Well, for me?
Yeah.
No, I've been growing autos for like 10 years, mate, since they were...
Have you?
I'll be... Not Mephisto, I've grown Mephisto in the past.
No, this is what I'm saying. Like you haven't grown the new autos now. Like this is what I'm saying. The new genetics now to smoke as you are. So I think you're enjoying testing our autos better, are just as good now as what photos you can grow.
Have you noticed
you're missing growing photos? Are you now though?
Have you noticed like a big change in the autos you're growing now versus 10 years ago?
Oh, absolutely. Gosh, there was what
I
can't remember.
Low rider.
Yeah, I can't remember many plants specifically, right? But there was a crop that was so bad but I still remember it now. And it was something like a black cherry or something. It had an extra name on it, like super black cherry or something like that. It was an auto. It was from Sweet Seeds. It's not their fault. I'm not saying Sweet Seeds are bad, because they are a good seed company as well. But that's what strain it was. And these things just grew. It was in DWC, deep water culture, big hydro, and they grew so big. But the buds on it was tiny, so it was just four big leggy plants with tiny buds on, and it was some of the worst plants I've ever grown. And the weed was terrible, no flavor. It was so bad. It was so bad. And people back then who tried autos were trying shit like that. You can fully understand where they're like, "Nah, autos are shit." But now compared to then, damn, huge difference. Huge difference. I would challenge somebody to have a bud from a photo period plant and a bud from an auto, and they wouldn't be able to choose which one was the photo. I'm very skeptical to think that. And if they did, if you did it over a long period of time, like 10 strains, it'll come out 50-50, no better than chance. I'm telling you, autos are quality. Smoke them, grow them, enjoy them. Well, that's enough from our sponsor, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, check it out, everybody. If you haven't done it yet, especially growing outdoors as well. We've mentioned this before. If you have to grow outdoors, you can't grow indoors essentially. Then you don't have to wait until the long season and the cold at the end of October to harvest. You can harvest midsummer time if you start at the right time, and then everything's sweet. Autos. But yes, good luck to Aurora. We'll keep you informed, everybody. You know.
Yeah, good luck to Aurora.
Yeah, as more information comes, we'll let you know. But what's next? What do we have? We got one from you. No, that was Billy's one done. This one about the Czech Republic. Mate. There we go. Yes. Yeah.
The one you moaning about me earlier.
Yeah, the perfect fucking segue.
Yeah.
Jesus.
There you go. So
he's new to this, Margaret. He's new to this. Don't worry.
That's true. Yeah, it takes a bit.
It
takes a bit of getting used to it.
A noob.
Yeah. Right. more than 1-0. Just to point that out. Right. So full cannabis legislation or legalization in the Czech Republic called Generate, 5.5 billion, and that's the Czech currency, which isn't euros because it says the CZK, so I assume that's their currency, in annual profits, which is still probably a large amount. It's probably still a couple of billion, I assume. But going to be a lot anyway.
Somebody do a quick check on that in the chat if you don't mind. How much is 5.5 billion CZK into Great British pounds and American dollars, if you do not mind, good people of the chat? And then there's going to be a little spike in Google searches, and Google's going to be like, why is people suddenly searching that? Why have we had 20 searches of this all of a sudden?
Quick, buy some of their currency before you do it, and then it'll go up a bit, and then sell afterwards.
Oh, that's insider trading.
Allegedly.
Be careful now. Anyway, what are we saying here?
So basically, the Czech Republic has decriminalised small amounts of cannabis, but debates of full legalisation proceeding. So Jindřich Voboril has proposed 2 bills, one for full legalisation and another following Germany's home cultivation model.
Okay.
So, interesting. A University of Economics study shows that the full legalization would provide significant social and economic benefits, which is obvious, and reducing the black market and increasing tax revenues. So the implementation challenges remain. So that's what they're really discussing, is how to implement it and what challenges that will ensue, which is why he's put 2 bills.
Firetop says it's 167 billion. Surely not. That cannot be correct.
British pounds?
It's got to be 1.67 then, and it must have missed a dot out.
Czech koruna, says the big bad wolf, it equals 0.033 pounds. So one of them is what, 3 pence essentially. Exchange rate is not available today. You know, whoever wrote this article could have done this. You know.
Yeah.
You could have just used the world currency of the American dollar, and we can all kind of understand where you are. Gosh. 247 quid, says Monkey Productions. Probably not.
That can be chat's challenge.
There you go. There's homework, everybody. Gosh.
Pull your socks up, lads. So in this article, they look at the means of the country for which challenges they could face. So the Czech has a relatively liberal approach to cannabis use for many years, while possession of small amounts of personal use has been decriminalised. Full legalization is still just a debate. The key role is the same dude, Rich Fobral, is a former drug coordinator who has drafted 2 versions of the bill. He's already said that. So the study of economics in Prague, blah, blah, said that. Maintaining the status quo, this is the article repeat itself. So the study found that maintaining the current legal status quo where cannabis is decriminalised but still illegal does not prove significant social or economic benefits. The problems associated with the black market and its impact on consumers remain unresolved. Basically, yeah, so they're not getting no tax revenue. Businesses are obviously not allowed to set up, and then employment and tax and all that in sales ensues with that. So, and obviously the black market causes obviously gang warfare and dodgy made products. So
he fucking interjects here. He goes on in this next paragraph. Look, legalization of home cultivation only. This option would bring moderate social benefits, estimated at PLN 204 million per year. So why have you just decided to move to another currency? What are you on about PLN? It was on the fucking CZK just. Wow.
So,
I don't even... Is that
it's got more down
here?
It's got more down here. PLN increased to 13.1 billion over 11 years. It's like everything's in like weird currencies down there. So, but here we go. The social and economic benefits of full legalization. Again, it just goes on about the legal market, the distribution of it, higher quality products, which directly affect community safety. Again, so they're hitting all the right marks, if you get what I mean. We're discussing what challenges they have, what they need to change. And again, they're mentioning money and fees for license fees and taxation of the state budget, a huge support for public finances, which would be spent on social purposes such as education or healthcare. So they're looking at it properly on how to change it, what to change, and how to spend the money they're going to get on it in a sort of positive manner. So this, again, it's just still another case of going through the stages of discussion. So one of the key elements of the campaign was the story of Lucas Che, who was sentenced to 8 years in prison following growing just 9 cannabis plants. Although there's no evidence that he planned to sell the cannabis, the court found that he may have intended to do so. So they find that these harsh sentences like that are just pointless. Shit like that. So again, they're looking at the sentencing and how harsh. So would they look at reparations and releasing these people afterwards, which would be a good way to go, because they obviously look at what other countries are doing. So again, it does look something promising. And again, they're pointing out the economic part in almost every part of it. So again, so this is something they want to get done quickly, I assume, by the looks of it, because there's people who have introduced 2 bills, 2 separate ones, so they want the reading of these bills to be read and then decided. So yeah, the
dominoes are falling, bro. Dominoes are falling. Czech Republic is like on the Europe mainland, but is it part of the European Union?
Not sure if it's part of the or like the trading block rather than the EU. It's not in the EU or NATO.
Yeah, because wouldn't it be using the euro?
Because it'd be
euro. Yeah, you're probably right there, Margaret. Yeah, it'd be using the euro
so
in that case, wouldn't it?
It might be part of the Schengen thing where they're not in the EU, but they're allowed to trade freely, so they less tax on their goods coming in and out. Maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's easy for them to export their stuff. So, but they are a liberal country, is what they're saying, and they have a liberal approach for quite a while now. So maybe now let's fully do it to make money out of it as well and implement it into the country's.
How long do you think it's going to take them?
I would say these quite quickly. Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So, no, but yeah, I'd say 6 months to a year. They would definitely have something done, this sort of country, because they like to get shit done quickly, especially if the money is involved.
Yeah, man. And there's lots of money involved. But there's another one. We should start monitoring now what countries in Europe are legalizing cannabis. Like, like in the States, the way the States monitor who's legalized for medical and shit like that. We should start doing that for Europe. It seems like the tides are turning, man. It's happening in Europe now.
Have like the war room map on the wall. You can start putting pins in it.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. Different coloured pins for medical and recreational and right to grow and stuff like that.
Yeah. Very cool.
I do like that they're talking about like home grow right out of the gate, though. There's really no question that they'll probably allow for home grow.
the two bills are introduced, and the second one is the German homegrown model.
Yeah.
So straight away, blam, get in there, homegrown.
Yeah, man. And a quick shout out to, I think it was Ollie or something. I can't remember the name. That's terrible, because all of these news articles were sent in to us by a listener. All of them. Didn't have to search for any news articles today. Everybody,
really?
It's just it's sent in.
So you're blaming him, are you, for the
yeah, that's right.
Stories?
Check the articles before you send them in. Fuck, you made us look like a right bunch of dickheads, especially Billy.
Yeah, look right.
They just check there because I want to make sure that I get his name right. Right, according to Wikipedia, it's Ollie. It was Ollie from Scandinavia. So yeah, shout out to Ollie for sending in these news articles. See, it came to the point like midweek. I was like, damn, we got 6 news articles to cover already. If he sends any more in, I'm gonna have to do like a special midweek news show. On just a random day, be like, I got these news articles that got sent in. So bear that in mind, everybody. If you want another news show, just fucking, if we get too many good news articles, it's gonna be like, wow, we can't delete any of these. We've got to just put another show up and do a couple of these throughout the midweek or something. Let us know. Send in news articles. Yeah, and thanks again to Ollie. Very cool. All right, forum news. Anything to add with the forum news? Just that the Macca's monthly comp is up and running. All right, so if you want to go into that, you only need 10 posts to enter. So it's not like for just experienced members and things like that. You can be reasonably new, sign up, get some posts, and come and enter over at Percy's. And you can win. There's a choice. There's a choice of beans. You'll see the prizes with some stickers and the elusive Marge sticker, which will be faded out of existence now.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about those.
Yeah. Collector's edition shit now.
They are collectors, yeah. Mm-hmm. Limited edition.
Got to be worth 30-40 pence now.
Of hopes and dreams.
Yes, that's right. But I know some people are like seeing that sticker and being like, oh my God, got to get that now. Yeah, very cool. So go and enter over at percysgrowroom.com. Any news to add on the Bite Me side, Marge? You got anything interesting going on your side?
I have a couple interviews that I have coming out.
Margaret,
I'm kind of excited
Jesus,
about. Oh
sorry.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. I forget sometimes myself. But I also, speaking of my name, I redid my cannabis journals that are on Amazon. The Bite Me Edibles journal, and now it comes in 2 sizes.
Yes. Oh, very nice. Very nice.
So
They're
it has
cool
the name Margaret on it, and I'm actually a lot happier with them because I sort of changed it around a little bit. But if anybody is interested, they are on Amazon worldwide. And leave a review because I realized my old journal, like I can't transfer the reviews. So that was
lame.
I didn't think about, but
yeah,
whatever.
So do that this week, everybody. That's what we can do. If you want to win, let's make it a good one. Let's do 10 now, because I don't know if people can even comment on the Amazon. But yeah, let's say 10 monkey beans for everybody who goes over and comments on Margaret's books on Amazon. Can you do that? Is that against the rules? I think that might be against the rules. Let's not do that, everybody. Scratch that out. I'll edit that out, all right?
Just in case this gets the rules. It first.
Yeah, you have to purchase it before you can leave a review, isn't it? And I don't want to encourage you all to do that. That's a bit too far. That's too cheeky, that is. But definitely go check it out. Buy it if you want, if you want a journal there. Very cool.
But I hadn't talked about it before because I bought copies for myself, and I got them today. And I just wanted to make sure I liked them before I talked about it. So.
Cool, man. Yeah. Very cool. And I made some flyers for Cannabis last year, and there's really nice flyers, black ones with Percy's on one side and High and Homegrown on the other. Real nice flyers. And then a few months ago, I was like, I'm gonna order more of those flyers because they've all gone now. So I've ordered them. I ordered them in A5, and they arrived, and it was like, these are fucking massive.
Oh no!
I should have ordered them in A6. A6 is the size that was originally in, so they're twice as big as before. And though they look good and shit, they're fucking nice flyers, but still, they're just massive. But next time, anyway. So I'm glad you improved yours the second time round, Marge, because I messed mine up. The universe finds balance.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, man. But that's everything for now. We'll go to the smoke break and we'll do that snail race. Let's do it. It's on the screen already, so I didn't forget. Look at that. Right, so all the names are already there. Went to the comments over on the YouTube channel. Let's have a look at the names. Names in list 20. Can we see the names? No. Oh, edit list. There we go. So we got Marcus, Plumlong, Racing Bud, Aussie Jim, ICQ 208306, The Real Shetty, Adam Baum, Steve Lyons, John Lewis, Corny Token, Reese Moody, Aaron Jack, Packy-ish, Plainco, who's changed his name now. I can't remember what the new name was. But yes, Plainco for now. You know who you are. John Tyler, The Shadow, Budsy Malone, Oldmar2106, and Deville6595. Okay, so 20 people there. How long are we going to do this race for? Any suggestions?
I don't know. How long? What's the average length of a race? Because they're
2
thrilling.
weeks.
Yeah, people who enjoy 4:20, we should do 4 minutes 20 seconds. Sounds good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or 7:10. Aha.
Set.
Gives me time to go and get a quick drink.
Yeah, cool. I'll do that in a second as well. Let's go get a drink. I'm going to press start. I'm going to let it run. We're going to just leave it in silence.
They can all just watch the fucking
While the snails run.
while we go get a drink.
And we'll go get a drink,
Bloody
everybody.
bastards.
All right, let's go. We're starting.
Okay.
Hey, off we go. I'll turn the music off, everybody. But yes, back in a second. Let's go get drinks.
No moving your snail forward while we ain't here, by the way.
Is everybody back? Anybody back? Is it just me? Was it boring? Was it really boring? Let's have a look what's going on here. Oh, I've got to keep it on the screen or it closes.
Is this snail race boring? Is that what you're asking?
There we go. No, for people to just sit there in silence.
Oh,
No,
with their
run
own
to the fridge.
thoughts?
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
maybe
I don't
that's
mind
maybe that's what we need to
sitting there
prevent.
with my
Yeah.
own thoughts.
Have you been sitting there without us?
What?
I thought you went to get a drink.
I did.
Okay.
I'm just saying, generally speaking, I'm okay with sitting alone with my own thoughts, but
I lost a drink race then, I heard. So I've got
Yes,
my
you
earphones
definitely
on.
came last.
Yeah. Well, I normally do that.
Jesus.
What?
This guy. Just about 2 minutes left on the race there. Yeah. Okay. Should I hit this blunt again? Jesus.
I think you should. 2 big tokes.
Oh, let's quickly have a look at that poll. Oh, you can't really look at another page while the snail race is running
Bloody
because
hell.
it pauses.
124
Oh.
votes, he said. Straight
yeah,
to
I
a
can look
poll
at
there.
it.
That's a lot
It's
of people.
81% for yes.
Yes. And what was it for also
19%
yes?
for also yes.
Fucking 100% yes. Nice. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for
Wow.
hitting that like button there. We do appreciate you guys. Very cool. Very cool. And yeah, so welcome to all the new people as well. Any guys who are new out there, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the show every week. No pressure, of course, because it's cannabis related. If you don't want it on your fucking feed and shit like that, it's cool. We completely understand. Just make sure you come back and visit next week. Write the time down or something. Sunday, 9 o'clock UK time, 4 p.m.
Sunday,
Eastern,
Sunday.
1 p.m. Pacific. That's right. Sunday. Every week, pretty much. It's rare we have a week off.
Better than
Right.
Sunday football.
Just don't
Yeah,
tread on the
indeed,
snails
indeed.
on the path on the way in.
Right. The music
They're all
there.
creeping along still, though. It's like nearly 42 seconds left. We shall light up then. 42 seconds. Light
Yeah,
Got
up.
40
Adam
seconds.
Thumb in the front, but Old Ma 2106 is
Marcus
Marcus
Purus.
Purus?
Yeah.
Oh,
the people at the front.
come on.
There's
always
one
that,
lose.
it's the one at the
sneaks
back. In from the back.
Yeah, it's the one at the back.
Always.
Oh. John Lewis at the back there.
Oh, look at this plum lung. What the fuck is he doing?
Oh,
my gosh.
Oh, look at him.
See
God,
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
He had
sprinting.
He had a good slip there, didn't he? Snail trail left behind.
Come on.
Oh,
who's it going to be? 1 second left. Who's it going to be? Deville. 6595.
Deville.
Yeah, I don't know. Deville. Maybe it's spelled wrong. No, because I did look at it, and that was how I wrote it down. Yeah, but that guy. See, I'll drop you a comment on the YouTube, and we'll figure things out, bro. Nice one. Congratulations, everybody. And don't forget, if you want to take part in this next week, we'll do the same thing. Just drop another thrilling race. And about a minute of just pure silence while we all run off and get drinks.
That's their favourite part.
But yes, congratulations, Deville 6595. Yeah, we'll do it again next week, everybody. Sounds good, right? Just drop a comment on the video. Say anything. I don't know. Say a snail race. I don't know. Where's for comment? Was this no, not triple grow. That will be at the end of the month because it's only the 22nd. So after the end of the month, sometime at the start of October, when we do a stream, we'll do the Mackey's monthly giveaway snail race. So don't worry, we'll make sure you're in that.
There's more snail races to come. In other words, people.
Indeed, we all do love a snail race, and the amount of people in the forum are like, "What the fuck is a snail race?" And we have to try and explain, what a snail race is.
You just gotta, if you know, you know. That's what it is. Yeah.
That's right. Way back in the day when we did that 24-hour snail race, a live stream for 24 hours, man, it was a mission. And you see people doing things like that for charity now. It's like, maybe we could skip the fucking ball a bit there. If we did a 24-hour stream and in conjunction with like the prisoners, the Last Prisoner Project, just raise some funds for them. Just be like, we're going to do a 24-hour stream. Maybe we should consider doing something like that again. That would be the only circumstances where I would do that again. Because it's 24 hours.
The next 420.
It's savage. Yeah, maybe. We'll consider it. Yeah, comment for the next race on the video. The video's not over yet. We have grow guides to do. But before we do that, we should quickly hit this blunt and, I don't know, just chat some shit. Are you watching anything good on TV? Has anybody seen anything good? Or is it all just shit now?
I've been watching stuff on space and things, really, to be honest.
Okay.
I've been watching TV. The cosmos and watching it forever stretching. A fun fact is that anything after 17 billion miles, you don't see the light anymore. It's because it's stretching and getting further away. Any new light we won't ever get to us.
Yeah, that's like 13.6 billion miles away. That's a billion light years away. It's more than just miles. But that's the observable universe. But the say about the universe after that, we just can't see it. That goes on for like 150 billion. Years,
it's mad, isn't it? Yeah,
it's crazy.
And then it's stretching further because it's getting further away. So everything we see now is slowly getting away from us. So eventually it will be so far apart from each other.
It's very interesting shit.
That's mad, isn't it? It's stretching into a void.
It's like apparently there's certain sections of the universe that are moving. Light on one side, moving away from the other. Those are collectively moving faster than the speed of light because the expansion of the universe in between them, or something crazy like that.
Yeah, it's going faster than the speed of light, like 1.2. Obviously, the speed of light is 1, so it's never going to be seen.
Madness.
There's stuff out there that's never going to be seen because the light will never reach us, or we will never reach the light as well because we.
Yeah, it's like Betelgeuse, the big star, big star Betelgeuse in Orion's belt or in the Orion constellation. I think it's like his right foot or something. But that is possibly already gone supernova and we just don't know it yet.
Yeah, it's mad, that, isn't it? It's already happened and we won't see it yet. It's pretty
space.
Cool,
does everybody love space or what? Is it just like a stoner thing to enjoy the whole concept of it?
There's loads of people that love space, like the James Webb Space Telescope.
James Webb.
Yes. I follow their Instagram account. It's pretty cool.
Oh, dear. Cool.
Yeah. Just the photos that thing takes. It's just wild.
Fucking amazing, isn't it?
It is so crazy. And it's like put really far out as well because it's in space.
It's not like it's not just there hanging over like
what's deep cosmos, isn't it? It's like infrared and all of that and all sorts of other.
It's because of a heat convection. Because of heat convection. If it's too close to Earth, the heat the atmosphere around the telescope will like ripple a little bit, so you don't get these smooth images. When you got Hubble out in orbit, then it's good, but it's not as good as it can be. So they sent the James Webb Telescope out. I think it's like near Mars or something. It's a ridiculous amount of miles away, maybe by the asteroid belt even. And there it gets it's like absolute zero, like minus 230 degrees Celsius, I think it is. And there's no interruption over the mirror from the heat, so you get these real stable images.
Yeah,
And
the
then it
images
just
are
beams
just
it
incredible.
Yeah,
The only
crazy.
shitty thing about space is there's like no weed. But,
there is if you take some,
I guess that's true. I don't plan to be headed out to space anytime soon, though.
That's what I think as well. You see these people doing spacewalks and shit, and it's like, nah,
Yeah.
I don't like flying. Never mind going to fucking orbit.
I know, that just seems like pretty far away.
Yeah, well, when you're 75, you might have a chance to go to the moon or Mars with Musk and co, innit? Or ferrying people. Would you go when you're 75 as a birthday
75?
present? Yeah, 2 weeks.
Even if they could guarantee my fucking safety and it wouldn't be exploding and shit, I still don't think I could be asked to travel for that long to get there. Like
it depends on how much it costs me, because right now isn't like 200K or something like that? Like if they're
someone gave it to you as a gift.
Oh, as a gift, because it's like for $200 I might do it, but
yeah, might be a little bit more expensive than that.
By the time I'm 75, it might be a completely different question, because they've done it a million times and it's pretty safe and the cost has come down. And
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because of all them reasons, when you're 75, it's
supposed to be like a cruise, wouldn't it? Like you go on a cruise and you go from island to island, you just sit on the cruise for a few days, you get to the moon.
Do you remember Concorde? What that used to be like, really exclusive, super fast Atlantic jet and all of that, just for the super rich, really.
Right.
And then now they've got their own Learjet, so it's all become obsolete. So, but yeah, it's like that sort of. Yeah.
We do share some shit sometimes in these 5-minute breaks, which is longer than 5 minutes. Are we ready to go to Grow Guides now? Are we all ready?
Yeah.
Good conversation there. Let us, if you have anything to add, of course, everybody, the comments are there. Just always be polite and respectful with your opinions. That's all we ask. Let's do it. Let's do the Grow Guides. So here we are, episode 12 of the Grow Guides, and we're going to be talking about how flowering cannabis plants works. And just in case you didn't know, in case you're new to this and this is the first time you're listening and you're on episode 12, then we highly recommend you go back to episode 1. It happened 12 weeks ago. It isn't that far down the cycle. Just scroll a bit. And we take you from knowing nothing, like knowing absolutely nothing, but the only thing you do know is you want to grow some weed. And then we just give you all the information you need, like everything, put nice and simple. And even if you do know how to grow, but you know somebody who wants to learn, you got a family member or a friend, then share this with them. It's just nice, laid back, easy to follow stuff, and it will teach you everything you need to know to grow your own cannabis. So we've gone step by step, taught you how many plants to grow, how much cannabis you're going to need, what size tent, what size light, what strains to get, where to get them from, what food to get. Everything's covered, and we've even covered a little bit of the growth now. You've germinated the seed, and we're going through the veg cycle if you're following us week by week, and you're on about week 4 or 5 of the vegetative stage, and you should be looking at flowering the plants very soon. So that's why we're covering how flowering cannabis plants works today in this episode. So you're going to head into flower and hopefully know everything you need to know to get to a successful harvest. So where do we begin? Do you want to say something, Margaret? I hate it when I just talk for ages and everybody just sits quietly in the background. I'm like, damn, I talk too much sometimes. But I'm just explaining.
No, not at all. Yeah, flowering's what we're all here for. Literally.
Indeed. Yeah, that's right. Isn't it? This is where the good shit starts to happen. It depends who you ask. Some people prefer the veg stage because, they're sadists,
Who? Anybody
people
in the
like
chat
Billy,
who prefers, well, okay, he's a whole breed of his own. Anybody in the chat who prefers veg to flower, let me know. I'd like to hear. Maybe we should do a poll.
Well, the thing is, I do like veg because this is when you can do your LST, your hands-on with your plants, spending time with it. Through flower, nothing really much happens. So in that aspect, I prefer veg. Yeah. But overall, the flat man, when you open up the tent, when it's at that stage, you just open up the tent and you just get this thick, pungent cloud of delicious aroma just pouring out at you. Oh, and you take them
My
big
outdoors
lungfuls.
is flowering right now, so that's what I get when I walk by it, which is kind of nice. So I'm
how
really
many weeks
happy
in
for
is
this
it?
warm weather. Oh God, I should have been keeping more track. A few weeks now.
Right.
But it, like, again, it was late, so I don't know how
Mhm.
big they're gonna get depending on
How
like
much
the
light it
frost
gets. Yeah.
and the light. Yeah, the light's definitely not like it was a month ago, but it's still flowering, so I'm gonna get something off of it. So yeah.
Yeah, man.
I
So
think
far, sorry, Billy.
I was just saying my favourite stage, I suppose. Do you know the start where you think you could smoke that bud? It's all frosty and it looks like the weed you're gonna smoke, and it's like, yeah, now it's just got to get a bit fatter and denser. And it's like
Yeah.
that stage there, you're like, oh yeah, just it's like that's gonna be a really nice fat dense nug. I'm looking forward to smoking that
When
one.
you're
Then
checking it like all the time to be like, is it
yeah,
ready yet? Is it
and
ready yet?
there's always one or two nuggets you keep your eye on that plant. You're like, oh, is that ready yet? Is that the one? And like you keep giving it a good eye. Yeah, that's the stage I like because it's coming to the point of where you're going to chop, but not there yet because
That's right.
you ain't even got your scope out. You still got like 2 weeks, like at least.
This
maybe
is where the
stage.
business happens, isn't it? This is what it's all
Yeah,
about.
the
So
business
far
end.
throughout the whole grow, it's been all vegging, so it's growing branches and leaves, and they smell nice. You know, give it a little stem rub. Be careful, smell your hands, and it's gonna smell like a nice piece of cannabis. You get bored of that real quick, really, but you can do that if you want to. And you know, you're doing all your training and stuff, so the plant should be ready for the flowering stage, right? So what's going to happen now? And we'll just explain the grow process first. Is if it's a female plant, it's going to start growing the buds that you want to grow, and if it's a male plant, it's going to start producing pollen. The pollen is going to come from the male plant, land on the female plant, and inside of the female's flowers, which are the buds, there will be seeds, and this is how the cannabis plant produces its seeds. So the majority of growers, if you're growing for cannabis for medicinal use or recreational, you want to be growing the female plants with the female flowers on it. The male plants are no good to you. They are only good if you're going to be breeding cannabis. And we explained all of this in the seeds episode and was explaining seeds as well. So again, you want to be focusing, unless you're breeding cannabis, which we'll cover in more detail later on, you want to be focusing just on female plants for now. So these female flowers, you want to explain what the female flowers and the male flowers look like there, Billy?
Well, it's to me, the female flowers are just look flowery, like if you get, it's hard to explain. They're fluffy.
Well, they're called pom-poms, isn't it? That's what we call them.
Pom-poms. Yeah, pom-poms. But I think a lot of people have their own like little faults of the flowers, but to me, it is when they get to that early fluffy stage where you can notice the femaleness of them, if you know what I mean, rather than the two like prongy bits and all of that.
Yeah.
And I've never really grown males to really see the pollen sacs, but I've seen enough pictures to make them. It's very distinctive, isn't it? But I think the female, like the poms and like all the pistols and all that early stage is still quite nice when you see it because you're confirming that it's that flower, it's female.
Do males flower at all?
Yeah,
like, that's a good point. I've never seen them like, because anytime I see like
like a proper male, it can look like a female if it's produced enough of the male flowers. The male flowers are they look like just a little bunch of grapes on stalks is how I think of them, and they won't have a white hair. They'll be round rather than the female flowers more teardrop shaped, and there'll be just a bunch of them growing into buds. You know, that's essentially what they are. But the males, they're rounder, no white hair, look like a bunch of grapes, but they just all grow into, it looks like a female plant as well, the way the buds shape and shit like that, but they just produce a shitload of pollen, man. Damn.
Right. Because I've never really seen them beyond like when you start to notice those tiny little pollen sacs, you're like, oh, it's got to go.
Kill it. Yeah. That's right.
Get rid of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Death stage, totally, yeah.
But
that's what I'm saying. When you see like the flowers actually forming, you're like, oh yeah, I'm glad that's all. But when it's all over, you can see all the little poms shooting up and down. You've got 5 or 6 on each stem, like really strong, and you're like, yeah.
Nice. So right now, unless you're growing an auto flowering cannabis plant, because the auto will start flowering on its own when it gets to the sexual maturity stage. But for a photo period plant, you have to flick your lights to 12-12. Right now, up until this point, you've been on probably 18 hours of light versus 6 hours of darkness every day. Right, it's called 18-6, and that's throughout the whole veg cycle. And if it's an auto flower, then that's cool. Just leave it at that, and it will carry on to flower on its own. But for a photo period plant, now what you want to be looking for, you've grown the seed, and at some point, 5 or 6 weeks after the seed has been germinated, usually on average it's around then, the internodes of the plants, so these leaf nodes, you know, where you're getting you got the main stem and you're getting the leaves coming out of the stems, they'll be growing directly next to each other, like evenly, and that means it's not ready yet. But at some point they start growing off each other, like just a few centimeters off each other to the left and right, rather than being right next to each other. You'll understand what I mean when you see it. And that's when the plant is ready to flower. So at that point, you can, if you want to, flick it to 12-12. And the plant is going to take about 2 weeks. There we go, 2 weeks. It's going to take about 2 weeks to go through the like the stretch stage, which we'll talk about in a minute, until those flowers actually start to show. All right, so you know, the female flowers, the white pom-poms with little white hairs on it, or the male flowers, which look like a little bunch of grapes with no white hairs on it. All right, they'll be on a little stalk, they dangle rather than just sitting tight on the bud, on the plant. Yeah, you'll know it when you see it. And of course, we have pictures of all this over at percysgrowroom.com, so if you're ever unsure, then just go over to Percy's. All the information is there for you in nice big pictures, easy to explain as well. So your auto should be flowering on its own. When you flick to 12-12, you're going to be waiting for a couple of weeks until you start seeing these flowers form, and that's when the flowering stage begins. All right, so now you want to change the food the plant is getting, because it's going to go from a stage where throughout veg it's grown all of the leaves and stems, and it's used a shitload of nitrogen to do that. It's going to reduce the amount of nitrogen it needs now, so you don't want to feed it too much nitrogen, because it will make the buds all airy as it tries to just grow more green stuff when it doesn't need to. So instead you're going to give it more potassium and phosphorus, because that's what's going to grow the actual flowers. But you still need to give it a little bit of nitrogen as well, just to keep the photosynthesis flowing and shit. So at this point, if you're growing with salt-based nutrients, like Cannabis or Advanced Nutrients, Dutch Pro, one of those ones we mentioned in the nutrients episode, if you want to check that one out. And at this point, this is where you either add in your PK, or using a bloom version of your nutrients, like Sensi Bloom instead of Sensi Grow, or I don't know what the Dutch Pro equivalent is, but there'll be for each different brand there'll be a different version of bloom nutrients, and that's what you want to be feeding if you're growing in hydroponics or salt-based nutrients. But if it comes to living soil, sorry, Margaret.
I was just asking, you would do this as soon as you change your light cycle to 12-12, or do you?
Well, there's some controversy behind that, because people, and growing is one of those things, you know, there's many ways to go swimming with a cat, as we like to say. And some people, as soon as they flick to 12-12, they'll flick to the bloom food and they'll just let their shit go. And others will wait until they actually see flowers starting to grow.
Right. So it's personal preference then, it sounds like.
And for me, I wait till the flowers start to grow, because that's when it needs the PK. There's going to be about 2 weeks. We're saying 2 weeks again, but there's going to be about 2 weeks of growth between the veg and the flowering stage, where it goes through. It's called the regenerative growth, but we better know it as the stretch. And the plant's just going to grow 2 or 3 times big. It's going to stretch out and just fill as much space as it possibly can before the flowers kick in. And that's just to make sure that it can support these big flowers. It knows it's about to grow. It's just preparing itself for that. So that couple of weeks there, the plant's going to grow ridiculously big. And it's going to need nitrogen to do that happily. You know, there's a lot of shit going on. It doesn't want too much, because it will stretch too much if it's... maybe it'll stretch too much for the nitrogen. But, you know, keep it a decent dose, so the plant gets enough nitrogen to deal with that without suffering and stressing itself out too much. And then when you see the flowers starting to grow and the stretch slows down, it doesn't need that nitrogen anymore, and that's when I introduce the PK. And that works really well for me. You know, I don't get plants that are too tall, other than this one fucker I'm growing now. Yes, I'm talking to you, you know. You know, I say just this one, but usually it's fine. I don't get too much stretch with mine. But there's more to it than that. Stretch happens for many different reasons. Well, in my opinion, I just think it's best to wait until you actually see flowers starting to form and then feed the flowers. And I don't do it straight away either. I mean, you'll see the small pre-flowers come in. There'll be, you know, the white hair starts to grow, start to see some calyxes. But I'll wait until it starts to become pom-poms. And when it's pom-poms, and you'll know what I mean when you see pom-poms, everybody. They look like little pom-poms. Well, when you get to that, then yeah, cool. We'll give it the PK, because it needs it now. And maybe a little bit extra CalMag as well, because when it gets to that stage, it's going to need more energy, because it's producing a lot, you know. And so, give it a little bit more CalMag to give it the energy it needs. That's what I do. There's loads of different ways to do this shit. You figure it out. You find out your own cycle over time. And that was a briefly mentioned, Billy, you live in soil, ain't it? So do you do anything for your flowering stage, or is it just water in as normal?
Yeah, I'd give a top dressing, like if I've got pre-mixed stuff, so I'll give it that. Sometimes I add worm shit. Well, normally I add worm shit mostly to most feeds, but if it's during flowering, then I make sure that plant gets more of the worm feed in it, if you know what I mean. So when I'm doing my buckets of water, I make sure it's a nice big dark worm shitty bucket of water.
Right, you give it more. Yeah.
Yeah, give it more. Yeah.
What about you, Margaret?
So it's
Because yours
easy.
is outside, isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't done anything.
Just letting it do its thing. That's
the
cool.
poor thing. Yeah. But I mean, she's growing, so yeah. Saw some turkeys pecking at it the other day, and I was like, no.
Little fuckers. So Thanksgiving sorted then?
Alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, be a feast. There's like 11 of them, like the hang out around here. Yeah, there's like a flock.
Oh my gosh.
Pass through here and there. Mom and dad and 11, well, the little babies.
Just imagine that South Park episode, all them crazy turkeys running around. Shit.
That's right. It's turkeys for a whole neighborhood then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't Ohio. What's wrong with you? This isn't Springfield, fool. Gosh. Yeah, controversial.
Yeah. Well, they're not my pets, so there's that.
Right. They're somebody's pets. They're somebody's pets. But yeah, back to flowering. Where were we with this? Yeah, so what with you outside, Margaret, you just don't do anything, you're just leaving it to do its thing. And that probably is good enough when you're just growing outdoors.
Yeah, no, I haven't. Like usually when it was really hot early this summer, I was watering it, but other than that, I've left it alone. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and it's a reasonably easy stage. You're just watching it grow, really, and feeding it enough, looking out for deficiencies, of course, looking out for bugs at this point as well. You don't want to see any of those. But it's going to be around 8 to 12 weeks on average from when they first start to show flowers. Because this is another thing we'll mention. When you go and buy seeds, it's going to say on the seeds, 8-week flowering cycle. And it's a bold claim, let's just say it out, right? Because it could be 10 weeks, it could be 12. It depends on a lot of things, how it's flowering, what light it's under, what it's being fed, what conditions it's under. Is it really windy? Is it raining a lot? If it's outdoors. All these things make a difference to the overall flowering time. And they don't tell you if it's from flip, when you flip the lights, or if it's from when you first start see signs of flower. So when you're looking at this photo period, when you're looking at the plants and it's telling you, it's going to be a 6 week, it's let's say an 8-week flower, because most of them are around there. Add 2 weeks to that, man. It's going to be 10 weeks. Don't listen. I mean, it would be nice, and it might be finished in 8 weeks, sure. But be prepared to do 10 weeks at least. It might go a little bit longer. Yeah, you want it to get to the right stage. So you want the plant to properly express what it's supposed to be expressing through the flowers. This is the terpene profile, which is the flavors and the smells. You want the cannabinoids to be properly ripened and mature. And you don't harvest them immature, because they won't do what they're supposed to do if they're not ready properly. So this the whole flowering cycle can go on for longer than expected. So just be ready for that. Don't just think it's going to be a 6-week thing, then you can chop it down. Because if you cut it down too early and it's just not ready, you just wasted the months that you've put into the work. Get it done. Waiting just that couple of weeks extra can make a huge difference, man. You can double your yield in 2 weeks. I've seen it fucking happen. They really fatten up towards the end of the grow. So don't rush it, man. Don't rush it.
It's so hard.
It's so hard. Is for sure. It is,
especially if you're at the bottom of your own supply.
And if you're in that position, harvest one early,
Right, yeah.
You can do that. You can take one down and let the others finish. And if you're growing autos, then in the space that the one plant was in, you can drop a few fucking seedlings and get a couple of weeks extra start on the next grow.
That's true.
There's lots of things you can do. But make sure you feed them properly for outflowering. This is an important thing. Make sure that they're fed properly. And if you have been foliar feeding for out veg, because some people do that, at some point you might want to give them a little bit of a spray of Epsom salts and shit, just spraying onto the leaves. and this is called foliar feeding. Or if you have bugs during veg and you want to spray pesticides on the plant, then that's all good. But when it comes to flower, you don't want to spray anything on it. And this is partly because you don't want to get them wet, because it encourages mold to grow potentially, especially indoors. Outdoors is not so bad. They get wet from the rain anyway. But you don't want that indoors. You just want to, try and prevent it as much as possible. But also, you don't want pesticides on your buds, because you're going to smoke that shit and it's going to be nasty. So don't spray your plant anymore when it starts to go into flower. Yeah.
Right.
So what else can we add here? I mean, there's other light cycles that you can use. Some people like to use 1410 or 1311 or whatever, all these different things. And I would just encourage everybody to keep things nice and simple. And if you're growing photo period for cannabis plants, keep it on 1212. Just keep it simple.
I've never heard of people doing 1410 or something like that.
Oh, there's all sorts of different light cycles. There's something they call the gaslight, or what's it called, Billy? Do you know this one? The gas lantern technique or something like that. It's something like that. It's tricking the plant to think it's had light when it hasn't. But
I'd rather
it's like,
just stick with the 12-12, makes it really simple.
Yeah. Because with the gaslight one, it's like 6 hours on, 3 hours off, 6 hours on, half hour off, and all this dodgy shit. And it's just like, no, man.
Yeah, that sounds too 12-12.
Keep it simple. Keep it nice and simple. But again, if you got autos, just 1860s cool, man. Let them go. Right, let's mention the night cycle. Right, when you come up to when the cannabis plant is outdoors, it's going to get a certain amount of light from the full moon, and the full moon's like 7% reflective. It gets a certain amount of light, but it's not enough to like give the plant feed. It knows it's nighttime. It's a regular light source outside, so you don't have to worry about that so much. But if you've got spotlights when you're growing outdoors, or if you're growing indoors, if there's an LED on a piece of equipment, or you keep checking the plants at nighttime and there's this irregular cycle of light going on, then the plants could potentially hermy from there, and that means the female plant is going to grow male parts which produce pollen. It will pollinate itself because of the amount of stress that it's under. It wants to grow loads of seeds, and then of course you'll have loads of seeds in your buds. You don't want that to happen, man. It happens, and it's not the end of the world. You still got decent buds. You can make hash with it, or you can pick out the seeds if you're smoking a joint. But it spent a lot of energy creating the seeds rather than the terpenes and the cannabinoids you would want. So be careful with the light leaks. Don't let any light leaks in. The dark period needs to stay the dark period, and it shouldn't be disturbed. Some people say use a green light and all that, but as I say, keep things simple. Don't use the fucking green light. Just stay away. Check it when the light's on. What's wrong with you?
pretty easy to adjust the light cycle for when you can actually go in and check on it.
To do that, hermes happen, man. I've had hermes a couple of times, and
I've never had that happen, but it sounds like it would be very disappointing.
Well, in the early days, it's easy. It can happen easily. If you're stressing out a plant a bit too much and the genetics are not strong enough, then it can hermy, and you also don't know what you're looking for. You gotta look out for these male flowers, and if people don't know what the male flowers look like, just think it's normal growth, and then it can just pollinate the rest of the plants. But saying that as well, there's these things called calyxes which you're going to see growing on your plant throughout the flowering period. And loads of times I've seen growers, and when I first started growing, I got confused by it as well, is they will think that these are male flowers and the plant has gone hermy. And most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, it's not the case. You're just confusing a calyx with a male flower. So if you're going through the flowering stage and you think that you have seen some kind of male flower, double check that shit, man. Don't be chopping down plants before you know for sure that you should. And even if you do see male flowers, it's going to take a few days for that to grow to the stage where it can open up and let out pollen anyway. So don't rush. Take a picture of that shit. Come and post it over PercysGrowroom.com, and we'll be able to help you identify whether it's male or female. And in most cases, it's going to be female. It'll be a calyx. Again, if it's tear-shaped with white hair, some crystals on it, that's going to be a female flower, even the calyx. So just check for that. Yeah. We got a question. Can you actually get a cannabinoids from fan leaves before flowers? I don't know. We'll cover questions at the end. We won't cover that just yet. Well, what else can we add here when we get into flower? I mean, but some people like to add UV. Is it any of you guys use UV in your tent yet? Because it's a reasonably new thing.
No. I'm unfamiliar.
I don't use UV at the minute. I'd like to add it, but I think there's some sort of routine with it. Also, some light systems now have it built in as well. So I think.
What's the benefit?
Well, some say that the THC, the trichomes on a cannabis bud, it's there partially as like a sunblock, and the plants that are grown high up in the Himalaya would have a thicker resin coat on it because the atmosphere is thinner and more of the UV rays are going from the sun to the plant than something at sea level, which wouldn't be so frosty because it's not getting the same amount of UV. So when you use UV in the tent, it sort of produces more of these resins to try and prevent the DNA getting damaged by the UV. So it's essentially just making its own sunblock. Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting indeed. But many people have added it. I've seen some people use it, but it's not like you turn it on and leave it on all day. It's 15-minute blast once a day, and then you shouldn't be anywhere near it because you don't want to get sunburned and shit.
Right.
You know.
You
interesting.
Go for a tan while you're sunning your plants.
Yeah, cancer too. Yeah. Stay fucking away from that shit. You know, a little melanoma never killed anybody. So yeah. Jesus, scary. Yeah. So, you know, be cautious of that stuff. And we specifically are talking to new growers here, so don't be messing with any of that complicated stuff where you're on your first couple of grows. We want you to keep it nice and simple. Because if you keep it simple, there's less things that are going to go wrong, you know? So you just don't get carried away by putting extra lights in or changing the dodgy light cycles and all this madness. All you need to do at this stage, when it comes to the flowering stage, is let the plant grow. Feed it. You know, you give it all the nice food it needs, plenty of potassium and phosphorus, bumping calcium, reduce the nitrogen. That will all be done for you if you are using salt-based nutrients and you just move to a bloom version. But if you need any help, you know, again, over at Percy'sGrowroom.com, we've got loads of people who use loads of different types of nutrients from different brands, and you can post it up on the forum and somebody will be like, oh, I use that. This is what I do at this stage. So don't panic. There's also that option as well. But yes, feed them well, keep them happy, and they will produce a large amount of delicious buds. Now, there's things that you need to watch out for throughout the grow, just in case they do happen, and we discussed it briefly on last week's episode when we spoke about common cannabis plant problems. But this is a bud rot, everybody. Bud rot.
The dread bud rot.
I hate to ask, Margaret, but how's your plant looking outside? No rot yet?
No, thankfully. Because I mean, we've had a bit of rain. We're supposed to get some rain this week too, but the buds aren't dense enough really to probably even worry about that.
Cool.
So, yeah. Although, also going back to the UV thing for a second, because Savon said in the chat that they'll kill bugs.
UVC. Yeah, UV.
UVC.
Because there's UVC. He said it there in the chat because he knows his shit. There's different kinds of UV. UVA, UVB, and UVC, and I think there are some grow lights that are potentially putting UVC into their models now, so it'll be like a constant deterrent for bugs. But life will find a way, man. They'll just live under the fucking leaves. You know, these are like little bastards. They know what they're doing. You know, I figure out they'll start walking around with little umbrellas and shit, parasols to keep the light off.
That's right. The cockroaches will outlive us all.
Exactly. They're smarter than we think. You know, I mean, how much more is there to add here? It's really just a case of keeping the plants happy. And as we said with the bud right here, just keep an eye out for a yellow leaf, a certain section of a bud losing color. But this shouldn't be happening until the later stages of flowering. So, and we'll go into much more detail with that when we're looking at harvesting the cannabis plants after 8 to 10 weeks of flower. You know, usually 8 to 10 weeks. Again, it can be longer. Some strains are out there like 21 weeks flowering. The Dr. Grinspoon and shit. Yeah, huge, long flowering period on that. Yeah, so just keep it happy, keep it healthy, and you should be just about fine. You know, if you need any help figuring out what nutrients to feed it, or if you're having deficiencies, then of course head over to Percy'sGrowroom.com. But I think that's just about everything we can add about flowering right now.
I think being patient is probably like the important. Near the end, that's it. Just being patient for it to mature.
When it comes to being close to the end there, it's easy to think, oh, this is done, I'm chopping it. When really it's so easy to do that. But if you just leave it there a couple of weeks longer, it's going to grow fatter buds, so many more resins and terpenes, man. And after a few harvests, you start getting used to it. You start figuring it out. You know, and there's ways you can tell as well by looking at the trichomes and things like that, which we'll cover again in more detail when we get to the harvesting episode. But right now, we're just talking about the flowering. And man, I can tell when my plants are ready for harvest just by the fucking smell. It changes, man. This pungency, this ripeness to it, where it's just like, oh, this needs to come down now. And that is a good day. Well, it can be a good day if you find it early, because you know you got to go out, you got to get gloves and scissors and all this shit, and cancel everything for the next 12 hours because I've got shit that needs to be done. Gee, better find something good to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we've all been there. We've all been there.
The trim jail.
Yeah.
Find a good podcast from somewhere, maybe.
Yeah, one of those cannabis podcasts. Yeah.
Yeah, then there's a couple out there.
Just go to the interview page on High on Homegrown, man, and just listen to the fucking press play at the player at the top, and it'll just start playing all the interviews. You know, it separates out the grow guides and the cannabis news. So if you just want to listen to interviews, you can do that. And it's the same with the grow guides as well. You can go over there and just listen to the grow guides over on highonhomegrown.com. Check it out. It's a good website. Built it myself. Nice. Yeah, and fucking dust ball rolls by, you know. You know what I mean? Well, what was them? It's not a dust ball, is it? Is it a dust ball? You know, like in a western when somebody tells a bad joke, the tumbleweed. Tumbleweed.
Yeah.
There we go. That's what I was talking about. Fucking hell. Couldn't even get the thing right. What a shit joke. What a shit attempt at a joke. Fuck, you know. But yeah, that's it for
They
flowering.
can't all be winners.
That's right. That's right. I'm on like a 99.5% win rate. So
yeah, that's not bad. It's a
yeah, it's
pretty
not
good
bad.
ratio.
It's not bad. Yeah, it's close. It's close. Yeah, but yeah, that's it for flowering. Not much to add. But again, of course, if you have questions, if you think that we missed anything out, then do come and check us out over at Percy'sGrowroom.com and ask for help. The key is here: be patient, keep the plants happy, feed them enough, you know, get the good light on them, and keep it simple. No light leaks as well. Keep an eye out for them light leaks. Yes, but that's it. Should we do some listener mail then?
I think we should.
Yeah, I think we should.
Let's do it. Let's see what we have here. We got some interesting questions, some good questions as well. Just look at the news there. Scroll down. Okay, Aussie Jim had a good one. If I flower a male plant and stress it, will it harm? Like we were just talking about with the hermaphrodites, you know, if the plant gets put under too much stress, then, you know, if let's say a female plant is under too much stress, it's going to be like, oh shit, I might die before the end of my flowering cycle here. I should produce some pollen so I can make some seeds to carry on genetics to the next generation. So when you stress a plant too much, then it most likely will harm you. Not all of them do it. Some real strong genetic sturdy shit, but some plants will. So, flower a male plant and stress it, will it harm? That was the first bit of the question. Do only female plants harm? Why? If I reverse a male plant and pollinate it with itself, will all of the seeds be male? Oof. Anybody want to take this one? Fuck.
Well, I
Cheers,
can give
Jim.
you the best answer that I can, which is I don't know.
That's a good enough answer. It's always a good enough answer.
I concur.
Well,
That's a pretty specific question.
Yeah, I don't know much about breeding cannabis. I know a little bit, but it's a case of the female does it because it has that kind of genetic in it. I don't think the male has that kind of genetic. You know, like I say, the female gets stressed and like, oh, I need to produce some seeds. I better make some pollen. The male plant doesn't have that, and it's got the XY chromosome as well because it's male. You know,
Right.
It won't produce female flower to pollinate the female flower with its own pollen. You know, that's just something that a female plant does. So I don't think you could harm a male plant in that way, especially to pollinate itself. But
that makes sense.
yeah, I think that's the basics of it. And it gets deep with the science about the male has only got the XY chromosome, so that will pass it down to its next genetics. So there will most likely be male seeds, but there will also be the chance of female. But I think it's just about the same with the female plants anyway. You know, when a female is pollinated itself, then it's most likely going to be female genetics, but with a potential to harm me. No. It gets deep to that whole breeding shit. Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah. That's when you need to pull out your like Jorge Cervantes book, Red Rosenthal, you know, reference guide.
And that's it. There's loads of good information out there, but it goes deep into like real plant science, and it depends on how much everybody is entitled to learn as much as they like about this cannabis growing hobby. Keep it real simple, or go into fucking university level depth. You know, it's completely up to you, man. This is your thing. So if this is something that you're interested in, everybody, if this piques your interest, then definitely go and check out some videos with Dr. Bruce Bugby. He's a good one. He's good with the plant science. As Margaret said, you know, books from Jorge Cervantes or Ed Rosenthal. Loads of good information in that shit. Chilbert knows what he's talking about when it comes to this kind of shit as well. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, all this Hermit stuff has too many YouTube flags for me to make any comments. So
yeah, for sure. Terrible. And it was this one from you, Billy. Well, I hope that answers your question there, Jim, as well. I hope that answers your question good enough.
Do the autos. The other one, there's a couple of good auto questions there as well. Isn't there?
Which auto question?
No, where was it?
The seed question. Oh, the one from
Plainco, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, this is an interesting one as well from Plainco. Yeah, he says, and he's changed his name to Clock End Hayes is what his new name is over at the forum. He's changed his display name, so that's what we will call him from now on, if we remember. What do the team / listeners know about super auto cannabis strains? I ask as I have a couple of amazing cherry super auto feminized from the vault. Flash Seeds is where they're from, and he's got them growing. They are at 16 weeks and started into flower about 12 weeks ago, but show no signs of finishing and won't stop stretching. Damn. Yes, I know the struggle. But I have heard many times. Sorry, Margaret, you were going to say something.
So I don't know anything about super auto cannabis seeds. I'm not even. What? I guess you're going to tell me.
Well, this first time I've heard about them. You know,
okay.
Yeah, but I think Clock End Hayes was saying they are just like big autos. You can just run them on 18.6 and they'll just flower for ages. But some autos, which I read a long time ago, I don't know if it's still the case because I'm just skeptical of the claim in the first place. But they say that it doesn't turn amber. The trichomes won't turn amber or stay milky for a long time. And I'm not too sure about that because, you know, it's THC, it will degrade and it will become amber and turn into CBN at some point. So at some point it should go amber. But bear that in mind when you're looking at this kind of thing. Is the plant still growing? Is it producing new trichomes still? Or if you have a close look at the trichomes, are they all milky as if they've been there for a while? If they're clear, they're more fresh. They haven't had time to mature. But at some point, the plant is going to go into senescence. The colors will change. It will start to die off like it's autumn time. So you're looking out for these kind of signals as well of the plant shutting down, not just what the trichomes are looking like. But bear that in mind as well. And as I say, yeah, some people say autos don't even go amber. So bear that in mind, man. I don't know. It seems like really long for an auto be going for 16 weeks. It should be coming to the end there. Unless what you mean by it being super auto is it taking fucking ages, you know. I like them to be done 100 days max. Seems like where I'm happy. Yeah, that's from germination. 100 days. Yeah. Anything to add there, Billy? You growing autos? What do you think about these super duper autos?
I don't know nothing about them. I just thought there was just like autos which would just like took a little bit longer, like 12 weeks.
Grows a bit bigger.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe that's what it is. They're just not finishing off properly. Odd.
Yeah, and he also mentions that one of them won't stop, no signs of finishing and won't stop stretching. Is that all of them that are stretching, or is it? I think he mentioned it was just the one. Yeah, it happens, man. Sometimes there's just that one dickhead that won't stop. That's just the way it goes. Yeah, I had one of those recently as well. But just took the heads off and was like, fuck it. You know, I got 3 that are in perfect health, so I'm just going to take these. Chip. There we go. Now I don't have to fight with the light going up and down. Put this one here, that one there. God damn. Mission.
Got some Dr. Grinspoon in it.
Yeah, it's just a bit too big, a bit too stretchy. But yeah, good question, man. And playing Clock End Hayes also has a diary over on Percy'sGrowroom.com where he's showing this grow as well. He said he's gonna put up some new pictures to show the stretch on these plants. Yeah. So what's next? Let's get another one here.
Fire top at the bottom.
Oh, yeah, that's a long one from Big Bad Wolfie. I think we do that one next. All right, so yeah, fire top. Can you explain what leaves to leave and what leaves to take off when it comes to defoliating? Explain the difference between fan and sugar leaves. Yeah, good question, fire top. Good question. Margaret, do you want to say something about this? You know the difference between fan leaves and sugar leaves?
Well, the fan leaves are the ones that like come out first and stick out the most, that are like collecting the sun. So they're like a big fan. Imagine them as a fan collecting sun, I guess. And then the sugar leaves are going to be the ones that are like inside the bud, I guess.
They collect
Does that
the
make
frost.
sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that you can use for edibles when you trim them.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's simple, really. The fan leaves are just the big ones, man. And they're called solar leaves as well, I think. You know, by the professionals, because they're the leaves that are collecting the most amount of light, which gets turned into food by the plant. So they're important. You want to try and leave as many of those on as possible, I find, when defoliating. But if you're growing indoors, it's always good. Yeah, you know, top it, train it, like we explained, and then take off the bottom third of the plant after the pom-poms have started to grow. If you do it before, the plant's going to stretch like a bitch, because it's going through that regenerative stage of growth in between the veg and the flower. You know, be careful with there. Don't trim anything off at that point, because the plant will get stressed and just freak out and start stretching even more. So be careful with that. But I like to wait until the pom-poms start to grow and the flowers are actually starting to form, because then you kind of know what the structure of the plant is and what's going to be good and what's going to be bad. And then I take off maybe even 2/3 of the bottom of my plant. There are just like 3 nodes at the top of each top of each plant, top of each stem seems to do the job for me. I take quite a lot off, but I like to keep a level canopy and not have the plant worrying about growing shit at the bottom. It just needs to focus all its energy on producing the good stuff at the top. Because I fucking hate trimming popcorn buds.
They do suck. They really do suck.
Yeah. They're not hash. They're immature. They're never good. They just get in the fucking way. So I take them off when they're real small, because then the plant doesn't waste energy growing them. You know, it focuses more of the energy it needs on the bigger buds at the top. So I just get rid of loads of the bottom shit. And you can be scared sometimes and be like, oh my God, I've taken off far too much. There's more plant in my bucket to throw away into the composter here than there is plant. And yeah, it's scary as fuck sometimes, but I've never had a plant die. You know, it will just be like, oh, I lost a bit of leaf there. Cool. Then I'll carry on. You can focus all the moisture it's getting, all the nutrients it's getting is then focused on the growth that's getting a good amount of light and will grow into a nice juicy bud at the end. Don't fuck around with the shit stuff. So I hope that explains, you know, just bottom 2/3, bottom half at least. Yeah. Do you do some defoliation, Billy? What's your score when you do your thing?
I just leave it mostly. I defoliate the very bottom of it, but the rest I just leave because, like I say, mine builds up, and over time I have loads of popcorn for hash, so and a lot. So I just let it build up. I defoliate stuff what gets in the way, anything, leaf tuck a lot, anything that's if it's too
tucking is always better. Taking off leaves, I think, is always a bad idea, man. Because if the plant doesn't need it, then the plant's gonna fucking get rid of it. It wouldn't waste the energy on something that wasn't producing. You know, if it isn't a positive, the plant's gonna drop it off. It knows what it's doing. And people say, you know, take the leaf away from the bud so the bud can get the light. The bud don't need the light. The bud doesn't collect the light in the same way a leaf does. If you have a solar leaf that's collecting all that light and turning it into food, that's going to feed the buds. Now, the buds might photosynthesize a little bit. I'm not sure about that, but still, the leaves, that's what their job is. So if you leave the leaf on, it can create more food and feed more bigger buds. So leave as many leaves on as possible, in my opinion. But, you know, that's a controversial statement too. Some people like to do this schwazing. Yeah, airflow is an important thing. That's why I like to take off so much of the bottom as well. It gets rid of a shitload of useless growth, but the airflow is much better then. Just a nice circle of air going around the whole tent at that point. We'll cover defoliation in more detail in one of the future episodes before we get to the harvesting stage. You know, we're just on the start of flower now, so we're just going to cover things in the early stages of that. But yeah, we're going to talk about defoliation because it's an important subject, man. It needs to be done right. And in my opinion, it needs to be done as little as possible. Just let the plant do its thing. And when the flowers start to form and you see the structure of it, fucking get rid of shitloads of it. just once, maybe twice in early veg. You know, nice and easy. And you've just left yours outside there, Margaret. Is it just you just left it to grow, no defoliation at all?
I did take some of the bottom stuff off.
Cool.
Because I find they just always end up being like twigs. Anyway.
Yeah. Then you got
so I did take some of
trim
those
them things, bastard.
And it just looks nicer when you do too. Yeah.
It's clean, it's tidy. You know, if it's outdoors, you don't want any of it touching the floor because it will encourage bugs to climb on and all that shit. So, you know, it's got to be done in the right way. Yeah. Right. I think that's it for that question then. Right. So we have this complex one, man. It's back to cannabis breeding again here from Big Bad Wolfie. He asks, can you explain the system of F1s, F2s, F3s, etc., and S1, S2, and what all the other letters are, numbers I've heard or read? Ugh, it's complex stuff. All I know is it's to do with the generations of the plant and something to do with crossbreeding. And that's a different one. That's not F1s and 2s. But anyway, but I never know which one is which.
Yeah, I'm not really up on that stuff either.
Anyone want to take this one on? You know?
I think Chilbert should take that one on. It is breeding, but it's the stages of seed breeding, isn't it? So your first stage is F1, second stage F2, and all that until you start getting up to like all the
and
F5s.
F1s are typically THC dominant ones, and S2s.
Oh no, that's completely different. No, it's just what it's just like a female, a daughter born from two parents, an F1 is. There's a male plant and a female plant that have been put together to create an F1, and that seed that is produced from that would be an F1. And then if you had another two plants, a male and female, that produce seeds, and then you had an F1 come from that, and you take those two F1s from the four plants and breed those together, that creates the F2. And so on with the F3 and the F4. And it's like a certain amount of generations. And I think the higher up it gets, the more stable it gets for different genetic expressions. Something like that. It's around that. It's close enough. There's more scientific words that can be used, but simply, that is
generational.
But you also have like S1, S2, S3, and that kind of shit as well. And this is plants that have been selfed upon itself, because you might not know yet, being new growers, if anybody's new grower out there. Then you can take a female plant, you can treat it with silver thiosulfate, or what's the other one? Colloidal silver, right? And it will make the female plant produce male flowers, and it will pollinate itself with female pollen. So the seeds that come from it are females, right? And I think that's part F1, F2, and all that shit as well. I don't know, that gets confusing. But when it comes to selfing plants, this is what you're doing. You're taking this female and you're using its own pollen to pollinate itself, which is selfing plants. And this can be done with clones and things like that. If you've got two clones, you revert one and then pollinate one of those, one of the cuttings. Or say that you had a mother plant, you've taken 10 cuttings, let the 10 cuttings grow until they get into flower, and then you've flipped the mother plant into a dad plant now, so it's growing male flowers. And then you pollinate all of the cuttings with that. That's a selfed plant. All of those are selfed. And that's going to be different genetics, because it hasn't had there's not going to be different expressions. There's not been so much variety because there's been no male involved in it as well. Right. I hope that explains it, because it's complex stuff, man. I hate trying to explain it, because I'm not good at trying to explain it, because I don't fully understand it myself. But it's pretty much that. F1s are coming from the mom and the dad, and they produce seeds. And the S1 and S2 are coming from plants that have been selfed, so pollinated with their own pollen. So it's not the same as a Hermy as well, just in case everybody's thinking that, it's produced male flowers. It's different. The male flowers produced by a Hermy plant usually would be male pollen, so it's genetically male. But when it's when you use the silver thiosulfate or the colloidal silver, it stops the plant producing a certain hormone or a certain gas. So then it just makes male flowers, but they are still male flowers, and that pollinates itself and makes female seeds, and that's where feminized seeds come from. Oof.
Huh. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into any of that.
No.
Leave that to the professionals.
Yeah, I'd love to do it. I just don't have space for it. It would be fun.
Yeah.
But when you're getting deep into cannabis genetics like that, and worrying about F1s and F2s and F3s, that's when you're really doing the whole breeding thing. And it's a whole set of research that you have to do separately from everything else. You know, if you're just looking at learning to grow cannabis, nice and easy, you don't even need to worry about any of that, this F1s, F2s, and all that shit. If you're looking at breeding, then yeah, you can get involved. If you're looking at sourcing high quality cannabis strains and following the lineage of different cultivars, then this might also be important to you. But you know how I roll, man. I like to keep things real basic, real simple. Just get yourself some feminized seeds, man. You'll be fine. Feminized seeds from a good source, and you'll be fine. Autos or photos. Roll with that. Don't worry about F1s, F2s, and all that shit. If you get them from a good breeder, they'll be stable. So you don't need to worry about all of that. Right.
Yeah, I'd say find breeder Steve, because he's probably spoke for hours and hours on this subject.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, we have discussed all of this on the show before with, I mean, I think we discussed it with Angus as well from the Real Sea Company when he was on. Man, you know, lots of people we discussed it with, but yeah, I'll tell you what, just because he had the question, I'll go out and find an interview with a breeder and we'll get them on, ask them specifically to go into detail about this shit so we can all know what the fuck is going on. Sounds like a plan, right?
Yeah, sounds like a plan. Batman
Nice.
signal.
Then we have this one. Sorry, Margaret.
Well, there was with that question in the chat too, I think by that same person. I don't know if you took note of that earlier.
Which question was it? I don't see a Q.
He did have a Q. I'm sorry, I just assumed your gender, but I'm trying to find it now. I know it's there. There it is.
Can you actually get any cannabinoids from fan leaves before flowers if making bubble hash in bulk? I can't see a reason not you use it. Man. I mean, there's got to be cannabinoids maybe, but not at any kind of level that's worth doing anything about.
It's funny you mentioned Breeder Steve, because when I had him on my show like a couple of years ago, he talked about using fan leaves, and you could do like this triple infusion process where you could make a pretty decent infusion with the fan leaves.
Okay. And it had cannabinoids in it.
Yeah, he said it got him really high.
Wow, okay.
This was from Breeder Steve, not me. So.
Yeah, and you say it was some fan leaves.
Yeah, but you said you had to like infuse them like 3 times.
All right, so he's infused it with separate. It's not like the leaves made any cannabinoids. It's just that he added them as like making a smoothie with leaves and cannabinoid.
No, he was infusing like an oil with the fan leaves, but it was like a triple infusion process. And I have the recipe on my website if anybody's interested.
Cool, okay.
With his permission, but he said it got you pretty high. I've actually never tried it myself, but you know, that guy knows what he's talking about. So
yeah, we've had many hours with Breeder Steve. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good guy.
And you can juice them. They say they're really healthy to juice, but I don't think that gets you high if you just juice them.
No, you need the THC really to get you high. You know, there's going to be minor amounts of this and that in different parts of the plant, I'm sure. I don't know about it because it's trichomes where the good shit is really made in it, which grows on the flowers. But interesting. I hope that kind of answers your question there. I would say it's not worth it, but I don't know, man. Check it out. Let us know what you think. Go and listen to Margaret's episode over on bitemepodcast.com. That's the address, right, Margaret?
Yeah. And it's on your favorite podcasting platform.
That's right. And whichever one.
Whichever one, that's right.
I think that's all the questions we have. Oh, no, we have that one more random crazy question. I think it was sent in by Billy. Yeah. It's a fucking interesting question as well. This one. Who first had the idea of using castor sacs in perfume and as a food flavoring? The bloody weirdos. I assume this is you, Billy.
Yeah,
that's graffiti in the show notes.
I was graffiti in the show notes. Basically, do you not know what they are? So platypus and beavers have them. They are the scent gland sacs of them, which are connected to the anus. So they used to get this stuff out from basically squirting it out their buttocks and then using it as vanilla flavorings. It's still used as vanilla flavoring, and in perfume as well, as a musky like part of the perfume.
I thought it was beaver ass that does vanilla flavoring.
It's the scent. No, it's the scent. So it's the sac which is connected to the arse. So they use that to squirt out their perfume parts. It's a scenting sac.
Which is why you should spend a few extra dollars and buy the real vanilla extract and not the fake stuff.
That's why it's put on. It's not marked as obviously like beaver arse.
That would turn everybody off. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I would read the label very much so that you don't want like natural. You want to see that it's got vanilla extract written on it, or natural.
Man, it's fucking crazy because there's other things like that. I can't remember what flavor it was specifically. Maybe some kind of chili that is just like ground up grasshoppers or something. What flavor is that one? Is it on hula hoops, on like barbecue hula hoops? You know, that beef flavoring. I think that's like ground up insect or something. It's something fucking weird.
Wouldn't surprise me.
But that at least has some protein in it.
They use some weird shit in food.
Yeah.
But the castor sacs, that's a whole other thing. I don't know who invented that.
It's questionable, isn't it? I can understand the perfume and them getting the idea of like saying, "Oh, that's what they used to." Well, when you find a dead one, but what it's still then is a bit odd, isn't it? Oh, I think I'm gonna use its anal castor glands to make.
So, what do you think happened here, right? You think there was like some guys lost in the wilderness who managed to catch himself a fucking beaver? All right, he skinned it, he's taking all the internal organs out, he's cooking it over a fire, and then as he's eating it, he's like, "Ooh, a bit close to the tail here. I'm gonna try and avoid the tail and just eat the ass directly." And then he's bit into this beaver ass, and then this castor sac, let's say
vanilla-y.
It perforates, and the juices from this castor sac enters his mouth, and it's like,
gobble gobble.
This shit is delicious. Jesus.
Maybe that could be a new taste test for you next week, Mackie.
No, I've tasted it. I've done it. But beaver ass is good, you know.
Beaver ass, yeah.
Sorry, Margaret, you're saying.
If anyone's interested, I'll put a little article I just quickly found on the intranet, which is
a dangerous place.
A brief history of Castorium beaver butt secretion.
Oh, lovely.
Which actually looks like it's pretty decently researched anyway, because apparently, it's been used for a long time.
Yeah, it's like a long time. Damn. Like this is what I mean. Like it's scarily long that someone must have done this like originally without no other data. It
says here Hildegard von Bingen, a 12th century Benedictine abbess, mystic and scholar, wrote that powdered beaver testicles drunk in wine would reduce a fever. There you go, everybody. Go find yourself a beaver.
They used it medically.
Yeah. They would do anything other than legalize cannabis, I swear, you know.
That's just mad, isn't it? They add anything to their wine apart from like, I don't legalize cannabis now, but
god damn.
Boy,
humans are fucking weird. No wonder the aliens haven't visited, man. They've probably come here and seen somebody eating a beaver's ass and thought, nah, let's go to the next one. Fuck that.
No, let's just experiment on them fuckwits, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
But they did create us in the first place, so like they're just coming back and thinking, what the fuck did we create? Yeah, allegedly.
But damn. Let us know, anybody, if you've eaten beaver ass. Let us know if it tasted like vanilla.
There is actually one more question from Adam Baum in the chat. Is there a way Margaret protects her outdoor plants from early frost? They're in northern Minnesota. Sadly, no. I'm just hoping and praying.
They're in northern Minnesota?
That's how you
yeah, Adam is. I thought you were saying your plants were there. You know, just drive there for a few hours every week.
No,
yeah.
No. Adam Bob's in northern Minnesota, which would have a climate similar to mine.
Yeah, well, I think we briefly discussed it last week, and it's better to build some kind of greenhouse shelter around it to try and keep frost off it. But there's not much you can do.
Once the frost comes, it's not great.
Yeah,
there's not really a whole lot you can do, I think, which is why you just should use autoflowers.
That's right. Autos next year is the answer.
It's nature's way of saying bye-bye plant.
Yeah, man. So that's everything, really. That's I think that's all of the questions that we have there in the listener mail section. I hope it answers everything. But of course, if you want any more questions, if you have any more questions you want some answers to, we didn't cover it here, then just ask for help over at Percy'sGrowroom.com, and we'll be able to help you there. Lots of knowledgeable members who know loads of stuff about these intricacies of cannabis growing, such as making seeds. Interesting topic for sure, man. That's it, I think. Are we all done?
Yeah, I think so.
think so. Right. Just good luck with your flowering plants, everybody. Remember, like I said, feed it nice. Keep the airflow going around the tent. You just keep it happy, and it will produce some beautiful buds. We'll go into more detail about finishing them up in a few weeks, and come to the end of the flowering stage. Sounds like a plan. Let's do it. Should we go to the outro?
Yes.
Yay.
Sounds good. And there we go. Don't forget to leave a comment, everybody. Leave a comment on the... Oh, is the music going to play there? Don't do it, you bastard. Don't forget to leave a comment, everybody, in the box down there. That's all right. Just say something, and I'll add you to the snail race for next week. Let's see how many we can get in this week. Thanks to everybody coming to join us, man. We had quite a few people come join us today. I appreciate all the likes there. In the poll that we had, did you hit that like button? Yes, also yes. 160 votes in that. Damn. Yes, we appreciate it, everybody. Thanks for getting involved in the video. But that is everything. Of course, if you have questions, if you see news stories or any, suggestions, anything like that, if you need to get in touch in any way, just find us over at percysgrowroom.com. You can go to the Discord server, which is in the description. Just go down there, click on that, and you'll go straight to the server, and you'll be able to let yourself in, I think. Yeah, it's nice and easy to join. Of course, highonahomegrown@gmail.com. I keep saying, of course. And it's not really of course, is it?
I only say that because when I'm editing my own podcast, the number of times I say of course is sickening.
Yeah.
Of course, fucking course.
Yeah, there's been times when I've had to just edit the word fuck out of the podcast about a million times, and I know what fuck looks like. When you're editing and you just know the shape of the fish. Oh, that's gonna be fuck. That is blah, 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 fuck. I'll chop that out. Oh, Billy's spoken there. Let's take a bit of that out. He's out of control sometimes. It's out of control. But yeah, that's it. That's everything, man. That's the whole show there. Just gonna finish this beverage. And what's coming up this week? Got an interview on Tuesday and Thursday as usual, 9 p.m. UK time. The Patreons know. You'll see the thing. On the Patreon, yeah, the link thing on the Patreon throughout the week.
You'll see the thing on the thing in the thing.
Yeah, that's it. That makes perfect sense now. I think that cleared it up. Everybody understands what we mean by the thing. Yeah, head over to patreon.com/Percy'sGrowroom if you want to become a patron as well. No pressure, of course. But I've said, of course, again. Everybody go do fucking. Of course, click on.
Of course,
mate. No, the pain.
I just fucking found something that triggers me now. I'm gonna have to concentrate on not saying "of course" all the time.
Yeah, you've done it again, look.
Yeah, but I'm just explaining the thing. So, of course, everybody find us over at percysgrowroom.com. Don't forget to hit the like button, share if you can. That's always appreciated. But as usual, it's been a massive pleasure. Thanks for coming to join us. And we'll catch you on Tuesday or Thursday if you are patrons. Oh, if we do an interview with Martin, I will make that live for everybody. So it won't just be a Patreon thing. That everybody can come and watch that interview. It's going to be a good one. So keep an eye out for that. I'm hoping that can happen tomorrow. It depends on Martin's availability. Maybe on Wednesday. I'll keep you all informed. So just keep an eye out for that. But yes, that's all. Let's end it. Are we done? We're done? Yeah. Anything to add here, Margaret? Yeah. You want to tell people where to go to find Bite Me?
Well, you can find Bite Me once again on all your favorite podcasting platforms and at bitemepodcast.com.
Nice. Yeah. Billy, you started playing that Warzone, did you? Did you want to share your username or something?
Yeah, it's in Percy's, so go to Percy's and you find it all in there.
Nice. If you play
Warzone,
your
name in there.
Yeah.
And new Black Ops 6 that's coming up. I think that's going to be multi-platform as well.
Cross-platform? No way.
Yeah, I think it is going to be cross-platform. Yeah, so
that's cool.
Be interesting. Yeah, sweet. Which Warzone is, so that's quite cool.
Nice.
So yeah.
Well, see you on the next one then, everybody. Stay high, stay safe. Don't forget to share, and we'll see you on Sunday. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. Stay high. Bye.
Bye.